Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Fleming at ABC Sports Central in New York City. And this is the day we've all been waiting for in college football. 6.5 hours of a great doubleheader, Ohio State and Michigan, followed by USC and UCLA. After the Michigan-Ohio State game, we'll have the Prudential College scoreboard with Dave Dials. Then we'll be switching to the Coliseum in Los Angeles, USC-UCLA, followed by the college football scoreboard. I'll be with you all afternoon today to bring you up to date on many of the other key battles going on across the country, as well as late-breaking sports stories. I'd like to mention to you also that Wide World of Sports will not be seen today only. Next week, we do have a rather special treat in store for you, a special 45-minute Wide World of Sports featuring Janet Lynn in some special figure skating from Madison Square Garden. That'll be between the Army-Navy game and Notre Dame SC. But right now, let me urge you to fasten your seatbelt as we go to the football-mad city of Columbus, Ohio, and Keith Jackson.
From Ohio Stadium in Columbus, Ohio, today the second-ranked Wolverines of Michigan take on the third-ranked Buckeyes of Ohio State. College football today is brought to you by the Power Tool Division of Rockwell International and by the troubleshooters from Command Hairspray, Command Antiperspirant, the troubleshooters. This week, the United Press International Coaches Poll lists Alabama first, Michigan second, Ohio State third. The Wolverines and the Buckeyes squaring off today for the 71st time. And once again, there is a chance the winner could sit at the top of that final poll and once again win the right to play in the Rose Bowl. And over the last 5 years, the history is remarkable in this series. Michigan has won 48 games, lost 7, tied 1. Ohio State has won 42, lost 8, and tied 1. That does not include this year. And look at the scores from the last 5 games played. And, of course, the most memorable is that 10-10 tie of last year. In 6 of the last 7 years, the Rose Bowl has been at stake in this ball game. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Keith Jackson. I'll be calling the play in today's ball game from Ohio Stadium in Columbus. Joe Paterno, the head coach at Penn State University, whose Nittany Lions are going to the Cotton Bowl New Year's Day, will be joining us as our analyst and commentator, and Jim Lampley will be detailing us from the field. So we have an afternoon of what college football is all about, I think. The Michigan Wolverines 10-0, Ohio State 9-1. The Buckeyes losing to Michigan State 16-13. It's the kind of a week that you could really get yourself a set of white knuckles if you were a partisan to either one of these teams, because the interest, the fever, if you will, is so fervent it's almost impossible to measure. For example, in Athens, Ohio, at 11 o'clock this morning, Ohio University and Marshall played their football game so their followers and their teams could go home and watch this ball game on television. There have been some compromises throughout this part of the country so people could watch it. And we're delighted to have all of you with us as ABC Sports brings you the 71st meeting between Ohio State and the University of Michigan. There's no law against scalping tickets in this part of the country, in the state of Ohio. Premium prices have been paid. Jim Lampley will detail the two teams for us in just a moment.
A year ago, the entire Michigan football program suffered an incredible disappointment. A disappointment perhaps best expressed by Coach Bo Schembechler in preseason this year when he said, "We're the only football team in America trying to rebound from an undefeated season." Because after their season-ending tie with Ohio State last year, the Wolverines were voted out of an expected Rose Bowl trip by Big Ten athletic directors. A broken collarbone on the part of quarterback Dennis Franklin was probably a key determining factor. And earlier this season, we spoke to Franklin, his coach Bo Schembechler, and athletic director Don Canham about the carryover of emotion and disappointment from that big controversial decision.
A year ago on a Sunday afternoon, you were walking down a street in Detroit when you got the news that your team would not be going to the Rose Bowl despite an undefeated season. Try to recreate, if you can, for us your feelings on that day.
Well, of course, basically my feelings went out to the 30 seniors, which is the largest senior class I've ever had at Michigan. And I thought that they had done everything they could to achieve their primary goal, which was to go back to the Rose Bowl. Because the sophomores, they had gone and we had lost, and they were determined to go back and win a Rose Bowl game. And then, of course, everybody was very much discouraged and very upset.
do you think the sting of that disappointment is carried over into this year at all? Does it affect the way your team feels?
Yes, I think so, particularly our senior group. I think this is basically a rather young team we have this year, having lost so many fine seniors. But I think it is particularly true with our senior group. They played with that kind of determination.
A year ago, you won all of them except for one tie. And, of course, everyone knows that after that tie, you had taken away from you a trip to the Rose Bowl that your players thought you had earned. Is that the biggest hurt you've suffered here at Michigan?
Definitely. I always felt, like if you work for something, you should be rewarded, what you work for. And, us not being awarded the opportunity to go to the Rose Bowl was very disappointing.
Was it the kind of disappointment that's carried over into this year? Has it affected this team?
Well, somewhat. I don't think, I don't think everything, our goals and whatnot are based entirely upon, that hurt feeling of last year, but I'm sure it has affected, individuals completely.
Don Canham, a year ago, you were sitting in that chair when you heard the news that Michigan would not be going to the Rose Bowl, and obviously at the time it had to be a shock to you.
Well, that's right, Jim. It was a tremendous shock. I think the reason it was a shock was because the philosophy of the Big Ten all these years has been not to repeat. And if you don't have to repeat, you shouldn't. And I was certain in my own mind that that philosophy would prevail, to be tied for the championship. And Ohio went the previous year, and that's why it was a shock to me.
Well, Bo Schembechler will be trying to mine a psychological advantage today, but in the long run, he knows you win with players. Michigan has them. The leader is Dennis Franklin. He's also the most questionable commodity on the field today. Franklin has not been completely healthy for a single game this year. And a week ago against Purdue, he aggravated an ankle sprain that's been bothering him for weeks. He is not 100%. He's heavily taped. But he will play because Dennis Franklin suspects that it was that broken collarbone of his that kept the Wolverines out of the Rose Bowl a year ago. And believe me, no one wants to win this game more desperately than Dennis Franklin. Behind him are two outstanding tailbacks. The starter is Gordon Bell. The backup is Rob Lytle. You haven't heard their names that much, but consider this one statistic. Between them, Bell and Lytle have gained more yardage on the ground than Archie Griffin and his backup Ray Griffin have for Ohio State. I told you a week ago that the best athlete on the Michigan offense was Gil Chapman. He's done nothing to disprove it. He is the wingback he moved over from tailback a year ago. The biggest assignment facing the Michigan defense today is to try to stop Ohio State on the ground. And one guy who thinks they can do it is defensive end Larry Banks. Banks was feeling his oats earlier this week. He was quoted to the effect that if Archie Griffin is going to get his 100 yards today, he'll have to do it over Larry Banks' dead body. But the Michigan defense is centered around two outstanding linebackers. Steve Strenko, like Franklin, he's not 100%. He has a bad knee and it's heavily taped. His running mate is Greg Dufek, the monster man, and he'll roam all over the field to make tackles today. Those are the Wolverines. As we've told you, they are undefeated and ranked number 2 in the country. But they are not the team that's favored to win this ball game. That team is Ohio State. And in a moment, we'll be back with a look at the Buckeyes. Ohio State football coach Woody Hayes remains one of the most controversial figures in American sport. Many thought that a heart attack earlier this year would have slowed the King Buckeye down. But events of the past 2 weeks have made it clear that he's still the same Woody Hayes. He certainly hasn't mellowed where the subject of defeat is concerned. He's been called dictatorial, dogmatic, a tyrant. But earlier this week, my producer Darren Smith and I spent some time with some of the Buckeye players, and they spoke of an incredible sense of togetherness. We talked to Woody Hayes about his coaching philosophy. Coach, you have been quoted as saying that the student athletes who are in your football program have to be better people in ways than the other students on campus. How do you mean that?
Well, they live a more disciplined life. They have to get their sleep, and they just can't do the things the average student can do if they want to play good football. And if they don't want to play good football, we don't want them.
You are widely noted as a historian of wars. What are the analogies that you see between football and war?
Sometime I'm going to write a book on the analogies between them, but it is the analogies of surprise, organization, morale, leadership, All of these things that go into the sport are found in almost any segment of business, in any segment of worthwhile work.
How has your heart attack affected you this year? Do you discover
Not
any...
at all. Not at all. I won't let it. Because if I were going to do a half-decent job coaching, we wouldn't be where we are today. And if I decided to take an afternoon off because I thought my heart was fluttering a little bit, no, I want nothing like that. I think it was Napoleon who said he'd rather die winning than live as a loser, because then you die a little bit every day. And I think there's so much to that. And I did not have a serious heart attack. And if I can get through this season without one and then get back into better shape again, I can avoid a heart attack for a long time. But if I don't, it happens, and so what?
Coach, you have been described, perhaps by people who have misunderstood you, as somewhat a tyrant, as a dictator, as in various ways being insensitive to...
I'd rather be regarded as a benevolent despot, I believe. There's someone, when I came here, they had I think 5 coaches in 10 years. I found too many people were trying to run it. And I found I was going to run it or get out.
So power
if I
has to
don't
be
run it,
concentrated in
oh,
you.
absolutely. Yeah, and Napoleon again said that one bad leader is better than 2 good ones. And someone has to run the program, and I run it. And that's what I'm here for. Anytime I can't run it, then I operate, you know, on a 1-year contract. I've had 24 1-year contracts. So anytime they don't like the results I get or the way I run, they fire me.
You think that there are misunderstandings that stem from this sort of great concentration?
I think there are a lot
power?
of people in the news media today, and let me be quoted, there are a lot of people in the news media today who don't care about telling the truth. They simply want to make a story out of it. As a matter of fact, there is a sport in this country much bigger than football or basketball or baseball. It's that sport of tearing down. Someone who's never done anything and someone else who has achieved, they're jealous, and anytime that person makes a mistake, as he eventually does, why, then they point at him, see, and they try to tear down. And this is the worst thing that's happened to our society. The people who built our society, the people who gave us the freedoms that we enjoy, were people who were builders. They didn't have much money, but they had great energy and they were willing to use it.
In all the world, there's only one Woody Hayes. In a minute, we'll take a look at the Buckeye players who'll be trying to bring Ohio State a 3rd consecutive trip to the Rose Bowl.
Our national anthem.
Our national anthem by the Ohio State Marching Band. Buckeye Band dot the I for us. Well, 2 weeks ago, I stood here and told you about an Ohio State football team that was ranked #1 in the country, undefeated, looked almost invincible in every category. I can assure you that the upset loss to Michigan State has by no means impaired the Buckeyes on paper. They are still an awesome football team, especially on offense. And you start with Archie Griffin. The statistics remain incredible, but more important to this football team is the spirit of incessant drive and determination that Griffin symbolizes. A year ago against Michigan, he had the ball 30 times. If the game is close today, the Bucs will once again be going to Griffin. He is most probably the premier running back in the country. The one man who is supposed to keep the heat off of Griffin is Cornelius Green, the quarterback. Incredibly quick hands and feet. But Green's arm remains a major question mark. A year ago against Michigan, he completed no passes in 4 attempts. The Buckeyes will simply have to have better balance today. When they get close to the end zone, watch for the ball to be in the hands of fullback champion. Henson still believes that he scored a winning touchdown in the waning seconds against Michigan State 2 weeks ago. He'll get plenty of chances to try to do it again today. And the Buckeye defense, like the Michigan defense, is centered around 2 outstanding linebackers. Bruce Elia was a fullback a year ago. He's been moved over to offense this year, and he is the leading individual tackler. His running mate is Arnie Toon. Now let's listen to the Buckeye band.
The Ohio State University Marching Band, directed by Paul Droste, now moving into the internationally famous Ohio Strip. And when this happens, everybody in Ohio Stadium comes to their feet, even the people from Michigan. As the word Ohio is spelled out, the man to watch is the person who dots the I. You'd be amazed at the competition that goes on for that job. That's called enthusiasm and allegiance. Here again is Jim.
I want to tell you there's emotion here today. We've talked about the players in the glamour positions, the ones whose names you're going to be hearing throughout the game. 3 key players who could have a determining effect on the ball game. A center who could be an All-American, Steve Myers of Ohio State. He is an outstanding blocker. A defensive back for Ohio State, Neil Colsey, an All-American. He spent time in the hospital this week with a bacterial infection. Supposedly will play. Colsey is a great kick returner. And a strong-legged kicker for Michigan, Mike Lantry. Keep in mind that a year ago, if Lantry had hit only 1 of 2 late-game field goal attempts, it would have been the Wolverines and not the Buckeyes who would have headed to Pasadena on January 1st. Now back up to the voice of our NCAA telecast, Keith Jackson.
Thank you very much, Jim. And now we invite you to stay tuned as we return to Ohio Stadium in Columbus as the 2nd-ranked Wolverines of Michigan take on the 3rd-ranked Buckeyes of Ohio State in a classic Big Ten football game.
A former fiancé makes a plea to Riker on the Rookies Monday night.
NCAA college football. Today, the 2nd-ranked Michigan Wolverines take on the 3rd-ranked Buckeyes of Ohio State. NCAA college football. is brought to you by Chevrolet. You're invited to see Chevy's lineup for 1975 at your Chevy dealers now. Chevrolet makes sense for America. By Texaco and the many thousands of independent Texaco retailers and distributors in all 50 states. By AT&T and the Bell system, we respond to all your business communications needs. And by Goodyear, the makers of Bigfoot, the new polysteel radial tire keeps its feet even in the rain. For the past 23 years, either Ohio State or Michigan has led the nation in football attendance. Michigan, averaging just under 94,000 for this season, has assumed the lead. But today, here at Ohio Stadium in Columbus, every nook and cranny is filled with a partisan of one kind or another. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the offensive team for the Michigan Wolverines. Number 37, from Blue Island, Illinois, split in, Jim Smith. Number 67, from Tiffin, Ohio, quick tackle, Steve King. Number 74, from Garden City, Michigan, right guard, Kirk Lewis. Number 50, from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, center, Dennis Franks. Number 58, from Detroit, left guard, Jim Armour. Number 64, from Midlothian, Illinois, strong tackle, Pat Tompane. Number 84, from Kentwood, Michigan, tight end, Greg Denbour. Number 24, from Elizabeth, New Jersey, wingback, Gil Chapman. Number 44, from Tiffin, Ohio, fullback, Chuck Heater. Number 5, from Troy, Ohio, tailback, Gordon Bell. Number 9, from Massillon, Ohio, quarterback, co-captain, Dennis Franklin. Number 6, from Akron, Ohio, defensive safety, co-captain, Dave Brown. And the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, Bo Schembechler. Introducing the offensive team for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Number 80, from Dayton, Ohio, tight end, Doug France. Number 72, from Lorain, Ohio, left tackle, Kurt Schumacher. Number 60, from Gibsonburg, Ohio, left guard, Ted Smith. Number 52, from Kent, Ohio, center, Steve Myers. Number 69, from Bucyrus, Ohio, right guard, Dick Mack. Number 73, from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, right tackle, Scott Dannelly. Number 82, from Xenia, Ohio, split end, Dave Hazel. Number 7, from Washington, D.C., quarterback, Cornelius Green. Number 48, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, wingback, Brian Bashnego. Number 38, from Asheville, Ohio, fullback, Harold Henson. Number 33, from Long Beach, New York, fullback, Pete Johnson. And the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Woody Hayes. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. I'll be calling the play today. Our commentator and analyst is the head football coach at Penn State University, whose Nittany Lions are headed for the Cotton Bowl. A man who, over the last 5 years, has compiled a record, 6 years rather, of 56-7. One of the great coaches in the country, Joe Paterno. He looks like you're ready. All he needs is a hard hat and get in there, Joe.
I'll tell you, it's got to be, Keith. This is really an exciting football game. I'm really looking forward to it.
You look at the history of the Ohio State Buckeyes with a record of 9-1. You see ball control.
I think that's going to be maybe the key to the whole football game, especially early in the game, whether Ohio State, when they get the football, can do what they've done to other people. Just take it, control it in a precise way to see whether Michigan can come up with that attacking defense of theirs and force them into some 2nd and 10 situations like that. I think that's going to be one of the key things early in the football game. Ohio State getting the football, being able to keep it without Michigan forcing the line of scrimmage.
Of course, the Michigan defense, as you study that, equals field position for the Wolves.
Exactly. Michigan's had that ball. The other teams had the ball in Michigan territory several times and not been able to score because Michigan does force on defense and makes the other people go a longer way than they want to go.
In this particular ball game, the forward pass has been a missing factor.
Well, I think maybe that the key again to the football game as to whether we're going to have a high-scoring game or not will be whether somebody decides to throw the ball early. Somebody decides to throw it early and has some success with it, may open up the whole football game for us.
There is certainly no shortage of emotion for it from any segment of the population having to do with this game.
Now, you can feel it everywhere. You could feel it in town last night. You could feel it this morning. You can especially feel it right now. Not only, I'm sure, up here in the stands, but down on that sideline, there are a lot of young people determined to play a great football game.
Joe, nice to have you with us. Right now, let's spend a moment with Bill Fleming in New York.
All right, thank you very much, Keith. And, of course, the thing that I think is quite important to mention here is the fact that Michigan has not won in Columbus, Ohio since 1966. That Ohio Stadium is not an easy place to win. Now let's bring you up to date on the key games today that we're going to have special emphasis on. Yale and Harvard, with Yale, one of the 4 undefeated, untied teams in the nation, going for an Ivy League championship today against Harvard. Kentucky and Tennessee, although the SEC championship is going to be decided between Auburn and Alabama. That'll be on November the 29th, which you'll see on ABC. This game is rather important because it will determine who will play Maryland in the Liberty Bowl. If Kentucky wins or ties, they will go to the Liberty Bowl. And then, of course, it's Nebraska and Oklahoma for the Big 8 championship. The Oklahoma Sooners ineligible to go to a bowl, but Nebraska is all set to go to the Sugar Bowl against Florida. Okay, there's more excitement. There's Woody Hayes on the field, and let's go to Keith Jackson.
The Ohio State Buckeyes, the home team, will be wearing the home colors or the crimson shirts today. They'll appear red to most of you, while the Michigan Wolverines will be in the white shirts. And there will be a vote on the Rose Bowl team following this ball game, regardless of the outcome. Succinctly, this is the way it will go. If Michigan wins the ball game, or if Michigan ties Ohio State, then the Wolverines will have finished the season with the better conference record, the better overall record, and the vote should be academic. If Ohio State wins the football game, then the athletic directors will fly into Chicago tomorrow, and they will sit down and eyeball each other and cast their ballots. There will be no telephone vote if Ohio State wins it. They will all go to Chicago, meet, and then vote tomorrow. But if Michigan wins it or ties it, then the vote will be done by telephone to the commissioner, Wayne Duke, commissioner of the Big Ten, right here at Ohio Stadium. So that, in a nutshell, is how it'll be handled. The referee for the ball game today is Robert Fallon, and the Ohio State Buckeyes offensively along the front will look like this. As the Buckeyes have won the toss and will receive, it'll be 80 France, 72 Schumacher, who's back in good form and one of the great offensive tackles in the country. 60 is Smith, Myers 52 in the middle. Myers having come off a broken hand. Richard Mack, 69, will be on the right side of the center. 73 is Danley, and 82 is Dave Hazel. So the Ohio State Buckeyes will receive the kickoff from the Michigan Wolverines in the backfield. Cornelius Green, number 7, Archie Griffin, 45, Champ Henson, 38, and Brian Baschnagel will be 48. The return men for Ohio State, 89 is Leonard Willis. He's a junior out of Washington, D.C. He's the man they like to get the ball. Archie Griffin will also be back there along with Brian Baschnagel, so there is speed to burn on the kickoff team for Ohio State. Kicking off for Michigan will be Mike Lantry, number 36, who had a very good week last week in the field goal department. The weather, the temperature nearing 60 degrees. It is a clear sky, an incredible day in this time of the year, and the ball game is on. The 71st meeting between Ohio State and Michigan. It is Wills at the 3-yard line. Downfield coverage is very good by Michigan, and they get him at about the 13-yard line. So the white-clad Wolverines come downfield in a hurry, and Joe Paterno, this has been one of the trademarks of this Michigan team. Good kick coverage.
Yeah, that was a great kick coverage situation, and now Ohio State's got a long way to go, and we'll find out now whether they can dominate the line of scrimmages. They have done in just about every game that they've started with the football.
A very interesting thing to put in the back of your head. In the 10 games that they have played so far, Ohio State has scored 9 times on their first offensive possession. Cornelius Green is the quarterback as they work off the I formation with Baschnagel, the wingback, and Green rolls. He wants to throw. He puts it up. It is almost intercepted. The pass was very badly thrown, and Tom Drake, number 28, had his hands on the ball at the 22-yard line.
Okay. You'll see now that he has a man open. He overthrows it a little bit. He's in a nice position in that zone. He's got right in the right seam. And Green just overthrew him a little bit. I guess maybe a little bit jittery early in the football game, but it looks like Ohio State's going to start right out throwing that football and keep it loose.
But what an emotional lift it might have been for the Wolverines had Tom Drake been able to hold on to it down around the 20-yard line. It's 2nd down and 10 to go now. Let's call it the 12-yard line for this offensive series. Closer there. Green's going to throw it again deep in his territory, getting pressure. Gillick hits in number 81. The ball squirts loose, but I believe he was down, and he lost a yard on the play. Dan Gillick, a junior out of Sterling Heights, Michigan, drilled in. So Ohio State surprising everybody, going to the air in the first offensive series deep in their own territory as you see the Big Ten standings. Ohio State's only loss coming at East Lansing, Michigan, in one of the most controversial and exciting football games of any season. We have a change at tight end now for Ohio State as Mike Bartosik comes in, number 87, replacing France. He is the better pass receiver. It is 3rd down and 11 yards to go. They throw the ball, and there is no room for Archie Griffin. He's ducked behind the line of scrimmage, back at the 8-yard line. And so the Michigan defense looks very quick and very strong in the first offensive series of the game.
They were in great position in all 3 of those plays, actually, and they're ready. They're heads up right now.
Michigan figures to get the football in good field position as Ohio State is going to have to go to the punt and kick it out of the end zone. And it'll be Tom Skladany doing the punting, number 1. He is averaging, Skladany, 45.5 yards per punt. He gets it up in the air. He does not get a 45-yard average out of that one, but he does with a roll. It takes an Ohio State bounce, and it rolls dead at the Michigan 47-yard line, 44 yards on the punt. And Michigan gets the ball almost in the middle of the field. And along the front for Michigan, they'll line up this way. 37 is Smith at split end. King is 67. Lewis 74. Dennis Franks number 50 in the middle at center. Armour 58. Tom Payne 64. The tight end is Denbour 84. And the Michigan backfield. Dennis Franklin at quarterback. He says he feels pretty good, but the ankle has to be sore. Bell, the tailback, Heater, the fullback, Chapman, the wingback. It goes to Gordon Bell. He's in Ohio State territory. From his own 47-yard line, he takes it to the close to the 48-yard line.
Some good blocking up front there, and a nice block by the lead fullback on that play. Looks like Michigan's going to do what we thought Ohio State might do. They're going to try to test that inside of Ohio State's line. Go right at them. They're in great field position. They can put together a couple of first downs. They'll be in that 4-down area.
Call it a 4-yard pickup for Gordon Bell, the tailback. The ball is on the Ohio State 49-yard line. Dennis Franklin gives it to the first man, Chuck Heater. Heater goes to the Ohio State 45-yard line. He gets 4 yards. Pete Cusick, number 71, the weightlifting 250-pound defensive tackle from Lakewood, Ohio, makes the stop on him. And you're looking now at a 3rd down and 2 for white-shirted Michigan. The Wolverines have won all 10 ball games. They've had to struggle in a couple of them. The Illini, as you can see, gave them a hard time, but last week we saw them against Purdue, and they were magnificent. The ball is just inside the 45, 3rd down and 2 yards to go for the first down for Michigan. It goes to Bell. He's got the first down as he penetrates to about the 42-yard line. The block thrown by Chuck Heater, the fullback. He led him through the hole, but some good work on the right side by number 58, Jim Armour, the right guard.
That's a big first down, Keith. They get another one right now, and they're, as I said, in a 4-down area. They get a chance to 4 downs to make a first down, and they're in good position to get on the scoreboard first, which I think psychologically is a big thing in a football game of this stature.
This is the first of 2 games to be seen on most of these ABC stations today at 4 Eastern time. The other half of the Rose Bowl battle between USC and UCLA. As Franklin sets the throw. He goes to Chapman. He's got him open. Chapman is loose. Running for the flag. Touchdown!
Keith, that was a great play fake by Franklin, and Chapman came across from the slot position and just found an opening spot in there, and Franklin just put it right on the button. That was a great football play.
Gil Chapman, who figured to be a dramatic figure in this football game, getting into the middle, and he is a fine athlete. Joe Paterno, you know, because you got well acquainted with him. That's right.
We tried very hard to recruit him.
All right, Mike Lantry is in for the extra point try out of Tom Drake's hole. Mike puts it up, left puts it through there. And so, 11:52 to play in the first quarter. Michigan takes the lead by a score of 7-0, and let's have another look at the touchdown.
As you see, here's Chapman. Now they're faking away from Chapman. And now he just works into that open area, gets the ball, makes the man miss him, makes a beautiful cut on that nice downfield block by the tight end. And that's a really big league play. That's a great way for Michigan to start.
7-0 Michigan. Reasonable quiet now settles over Ohio Stadium as Michigan has taken the ball and gone 53 yards in 4 plays in 1 minute and 48 seconds to take a 7-0 lead over the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Buckeyes were favored to win this football game on their home field. They may yet do it, but they will work harder, I suspect, than they anticipated they might have to. It'll take the resource of every man to bring it back, because Bo Schembechler and his Michigan Wolverines, they were steaming last weekend about this ball game, and no question about it, the fever for this game is as high as any as I have ever seen. So Mike Lantry will kick it off again for Michigan. The deep men are Leonard Wills, 89, 45 Griffin, and 48 Baschnagel. And the kick is drilled into the end zone. It'll go out of the end zone, and Ohio State will put it in play. First down at their own 20-yard line. If you want to see the touchdown and just joined us, here it is again as Gil Chapman takes the pass from Dennis Franklin, gets a great block from the tight end, and takes it in from 42 yards.
It was a great play to call, great call, 1st and 10 after that first down, and Ohio State all tough, trying to stop that run, stop another first down. It was just a great play, a great call by the Ohio State
now let's see what
quarterback.
The Buckeyes can do from the 20 as Cornelius Green gives it to Archie Griffin. He's hit at the line of scrimmage. He's hit hard by number 59, Steve Strinko, the linebacker for Michigan. He may have gained a yard. Certainly no, he did not gain that much. They give him just about a foot. I would imagine, Joe Paterno, that every time Archie Griffin moves today, there will be some member of that Michigan defensive unit moving with him.
Well, so many of the plays that Ohio State uses are very similar to what the Michigan people use, and I think that they're familiar with them, and they'll be in good position for most of the runs. They may have some trouble with some other stuff.
Here's Green, back to throw. He gets it off. He throws it too high. It is incomplete. We have a penalty flag thrown. We may get an interference call, as Baschnagel had gone into the secondary as one of the two receivers. Dave Hazel was the other. There were some bumping on Baschnagel, and we may get a defensive interference call against Michigan. There it is, as Bob Fallon marks the ball. So that will be a first down for the Ohio State Buckeyes, their first of the ball game, and that, incidentally, is the only penalty call in college football where you can get an automatic first down.
Now, Baschnagel is open here early, Keith, and now it's really not a deliberate pass interference, as you can see. He just was trying to get in position, intercept the ball, and bumped him a little bit.
The football is marked out at the 36-yard line as Green comes down the line. Pitches to Archie Griffin, number 45, and Griffin fighting up the sidelines. And he gets it into Michigan territory. A great individual effort by Archie Griffin. It's a first down for Ohio State at the Michigan 46-yard line. He gained 18 yards, including the Rose Bowl of last year. Archie Griffin has gained 100 yards or more in 21 consecutive football games.
It's a great bit of running. He's an awfully powerful young man around the thighs and in the hips. He shakes off people very well.
His younger brother, a freshman, Ray Griffin, backs him up at the tailback slot for Ohio State. And he sets a little bit deeper off the eye than some of the teams. That gives him a chance to read. Green turns. He keeps it this time. Green coming around the corner. He's down at the 42-yard line before he is rolled out by number 81, Gillick of Michigan.
Yeah. As you watch this, you'll see the fullback make a great block on Strinko here, and there's some good ball handling here, and I think he gets lost with the fake. And then the fullback that's Johnson, just runs over Strinko. And, of course, then Green could take the ball to the outside.
He gained 4 yards. It is second down and 6 for Ohio State from the Michigan 42. Michigan leading it 7-0. With 11 minutes to play in the first quarter, it goes to Pete Johnson, number 33, in at fullback, a 246-pound sophomore out of Long Beach, New York. And he takes the football down to the Michigan 38-yard line, and he gained 4 yards. It'll be a third down and about 2 yards coming up as we see Woody Hayes moving along the sideline.
Here again, we have a big play for Ohio State. If they can make this first down and get that ball in the 4-down area, they get some things going for them, because if they can score on this drive, It'll take away some of that psychological edge that Michigan may have gathered.
3rd down and 2 from the 38. The ball goes to the fullback, Pete Johnson. He is a big, powerful youngster, and he's inside the 35 to the 33. He's got an Ohio State first down. He ran it right behind Myers, Mack, and Smith.
A good block by the lead halfback on that, too. Did a good job.
Ohio State's record 9-1. They clobbered most everybody except Michigan State. Ball is at the 33-yard line. It goes to Archie Griffin. He skips away from one, but good pursuit by the Michigan Wolverines. Gets him after a yard, maybe 2-yard pickup. Number 32 is in on the play very quickly, Larry Banks, and Tim Davis, the middle guard. Tim Davis only weighs 210 pounds. He's a junior out of Warren, Ohio. Perhaps not as big a man as you might expect to find playing the middle guard position in Big Ten football.
But very quick, and Michigan does a lot of stunning with him, a lot of looping. He very rarely plays smack into that center. He's going to go to his right or left most of the time, or get in a gap to offset his lack of weight.
2nd down and 9 yards to go from the 32-yard line. Green keeps the ball after a fake to Griffin. Fumble! Michigan recovers it. Steve Strinko, number 59, comes up with a football. And there was a whale of a hit put on by number 97 for the Michigan Wolverines. Jeff Perlinger, defensive tackle, he knocked the ball loose. And so the Michigan Wolverines make a break for themselves and get the football. First down at their own 26-yard line, and they stop Ohio State for the second time.
Ohio State
20 to go in the first quarter.
Ohio State's really got to play some defense now and get that ball back.
Dennis Franklin, the quarterback, he keeps the ball. He delivers the ball to Gordon Bell, trying to turn the corner on the tight side. And he gets a couple of yards out of the effort. And we were talking before the game with Coach Joe Paterno, and we expected that Woody Hayes would stack the defense and protect the wide side of the field, and that's what he's done.
The option play is not nearly as effective into the sideline because you don't have as much room to run wide as it is to the open field. And Woody will play his extra man, his rover, back to the open field most of the time and force Michigan, I think, to run wide into the sideline and probably run off tackle to the open field.
Split in, Smith wide to the left side. Franklin turns, gives to Bell. Big hole up the middle for Gordon Bell. And he goes to the 40-yard line, and that'll be enough for a Michigan first down.
That was the off-tackle play to the open field, where they're just a little bit looser than they are into that sideline.
Ball is just outside the 40 for the Michigan Wolverines as Bell picked up 9 yards. Gordon Bell, a very dramatic running back. First quarter history scoring this season. You can see Ohio State has put a lot of points on the board early. So far, they are trailing 7-0 with 8:45 to go in the first quarter as Franklin gives the ball to Bell. You notice the quickness, and he pops out of there and he goes for another first down as he moves the football to the Ohio State 46-yard line. He picked up 14 yards on the play before Doug Plank brought him down.
Two things on that play, Keith, that were just great football. Number one, the Michigan people blocked into everybody on that Ohio State line, stood them up, nobody got off a block, created a crack, and Bell found the crack and accelerated through it as a good back should and made himself a good play out of it.
First down, Michigan. The ball is at the 46-yard line for the Wolves. Peter and Bell, the setbacks. Franklin gives the ball to Chuck Heater, the fullback. And number 44 is inside the 40 to the 39 before Van de Cree, number 88, can make the stop for the Ohio State Buckeyes. So now suddenly Michigan punches a hole in the middle of the Ohio State defensive line. And they're moving the ball. It is second down from the 39-yard line and 3. As Heater picked up 7 right up the middle. Franklin keeps it, turns inside, hit at the line of scrimmage, spins ahead, he gets to about the 36. He will be close to the first down. It was Nick Bonamici, a sophomore out of Brentwood, New York, who made the stop for Ohio State. The Michigan Wolverines in their first offensive possession, marching 53 yards for the opening touchdown to take a 7-0 lead. A 42-yard pass run play from Franklin to Chapman. The kick was good. It's 7-0. Michigan with 7:15 to go in the first quarter. Third down, a half yard to go for the first down. They give the ball to Heater, the fullback. He went right into the stack. Bonamisi, Cusick. The two big tackles got as much of that artificial turf in their fingers as they could and hung on. So let's see whether or not Chuck Heater has picked up the first down. They'll bring the chains on. And as they measure, let me tell you that the Ohio State-Michigan game is one of only several close competitive rivalries existing throughout the Big Ten these days. Whenever games match such teams as Indiana, Purdue, Michigan, Michigan State, Minnesota, Wisconsin, you've got plenty of action and excitement guaranteed from kickoff to the final gun, and it is a first down for the Wolverines.
That Ohio State defensive line is going to have to start taking off a little bit better than they are right now. They're kind of sitting in there catching a little bit. They're not really firing into those people, and except on that short yardage play, they've been kind of sitting back and getting and catching rather than taking off a little bit. I think they're going to have to start moving across it to stop them.
From the 36, first down, Franklin keeps it, gives it to Bell. Bell is shoved out of bounds. A very late pitch. But they do get yardage out of it as Chuck Heater was the man leading the play and doing the blocking. And Michigan gets a lot of good blocking out of that fullback position.
And again, running that option into the sideline. And boy, that Franklin does a great job of holding that football until the very last moment. A lot of people, that looks easy, but boy, that takes a lot of poise and confidence to hang on it right up until the end and then let it go. And he did that very well.
He got 5 yards on the play. It's second down and 5 for Michigan at the Ohio State 31-yard line with 6:45 to play in the first quarter. Franklin gives it to Gordon Bell. Comes over left tackle. And Bell is down to the 27-yard line before Van de Cree, number 88, makes the tackle. Bell has carried 7 times. He's picked up 43 yards.
I'd say that left tackle, that quick tackle for Michigan is doing a great job. He's had 2 fine blocks on that play in a row, and he's hitting into that man and turning him very well.
We're looking at third down and 2 yards to go for Michigan. George Pisgotsky, another tight end, comes in. It's a double tight end. Chapman leaves. They've gone for the big guys. They're going to go on the ground for it. Here's the pitch outside to Bell. Got the first down. He's inside the 25. He's at the 22-yard line before Tim Fox and Doug Plank can bring him down. They needed 2. Bell got 6.
Okay. Now, let's look at the center, Steve Myers, in here. Franklin, go right into the Michigan boy Jones and just do a great job. Look at that. That's just a great job.
Dennis Franks, number 50.
Good Pennsylvania boy.
Ball is on the 22-yard line of Ohio State. Michigan, first down. 5:50 to go, first quarter. Wolverines leading 7-0 and marching. It's Bell again. Gets out, almost got outside. Pete Cusick, number 71, penetrated, got a piece of him, slowed him down. Arnie Jones, 42. And then Bonamisi put him away.
Just a step away right there to go.
Yep. 1 step, and he'd have been headed for the flag. He gained 2. Ball is very near the 20-yard line. Michigan jumping on top and controlling the football game at this point. Ohio State's first offensive series was -4 yards. Second time, they fumbled it on the 26 of Michigan. Franklin back to throw. He gets it off. He goes for Smith. He missed it. Good defense by Neil Colsey of Ohio State. Jim Smith, number 37. Dennis Franklin, number 9. The quarterback was flattened after the pass.
This is Smith now in the isolation. Watch him run down here. Does a nice move. Breaks out. And Franklin delivers this ball under a lot of pressure, and he's on the target right here, and the 2 people go up for it. Great play by Colsey.
I think Dennis looked into the middle of that secondary, was looking for Chapman. Chapman had a crowd. 3 people around him.
That's right, Keith.
Third down. And about 8 yards to go. Dennis Franklin goes to throw again. Better protection. Gets it off. Intended into the end zone for the tight end, Greg Denboer. Incomplete.
That's not a good throw by Franklin. He's got her in field goal position. He shouldn't throw that ball up for grabs where it might be intercepted. That gives up a scoring opportunity, but it was That'll happen once in a while.
He had pass protection that time, Joe. I thought perhaps that he could have exercised a little more patience.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to throw that ball away when you got a chance to get 3 points.
From 37 yards, 37-yard effort. He'll kick it from the 27, 10 yards in the end zone. Mike Lantry, ball is down out of Tom Drake's hole. It is up. It is good. A 37-yard field goal by Mike Lantry. And with 4 minutes and 57 seconds to play in the first quarter, Michigan leads Ohio State 10-0. This is Keith Jackson along with Joe Paterno, head football coach at Penn State University. Sitting high atop Ohio Stadium, Jim Lampley is with us as we cover the 71st meeting between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Michigan Wolverines. And with 4:57 to play in the first quarter, Michigan has jumped to a 10-0 lead, a 53-yard drive, and a 37-yard field goal. And Leonard Wills now shielding his eyes from the bright sun. It's a clear day. It's almost 60 degrees. And Willis is back there along with Archie Griffin and Bashnagel and Lantry. Kicks it very, very high. And Willis looks into the sun, takes it on the 5. He comes back to the 19. On the tackle, Tim Davis, 56, 28, Tom Drake, Michigan. Let's call it the 20. Terry O'Neill, our statistician, is right in the first place. He wrote down a 15-yard return. The ball's just shy of the 20-yard line. Cornelius Green, number 7, checks into the Ohio State huddle. The Buckeyes are wearing the red shirts. Michigan leading 10-0, wearing the white. Michigan's defense has been most impressive. They've stopped Ohio State twice now. Bashnagel is in motion with Johnson and Griffin behind him, and it is Johnson, the fullback, into the middle. He gets a couple of yards, and that's all. Here's Jim Lampley.
You're watching a lot of Ohio high school football products on both sides of the line of scrimmage today. 10 of Michigan's 22 starters are from Ohio. 31 players on the roster are from Ohio. By contrast, only 6 Michigan players on the Ohio State team. It's a matter of geography. The Ohio State people just don't like to recruit in Michigan. Michigan's people love to go to Ohio, where the best high school football is. Keith?
Second down and 8 yards to go. Archie Griffin trying to pop it over the right side. Had his feet taken from under him by Tim Davis, number 56, the middle guard for Michigan. But he did get the football out to just beyond the 25-yard line. So let's call it third down and a long 4 for Ohio State. The Buckeye field position so far in the game has been the 12-yard line, the 20-yard line, and the 20-yard line. This is the third time they've had the ball. And they trail 10-0. Hazel way wide to the left side. As Green sets, throws quickly. Pass is caught by Doug Krantz, number 80, the tight end. And the Buckeyes have a first down out at the 40. A gain of 14 yards on the play.
They've got to do a couple of things like that to loosen up those linebackers. Those linebackers are sitting in there awfully tough to the run.
Doug Krantz, 260-pounder, converted from tackle to tight end. One of the, if not the biggest man on the Ohio State team. And that football was right on his fingertips, and he showed a pair of great hands to hang on to it. So let's call it the 40, just outside the 40. First down, Buckeyes. Bashnagel again, in motion. It's Griffin. And Archie Griffin is caught by Dave Brown, number 6, and dragged down as he moves the football for 8 yards from the 40 to the 48. Brought down by Brown, but the hole open on that right side, and Archie almost popped out of there, but Dick Mack, the right guard, number 69.
Well, the blocking at the point of the hole was excellent. He had a nice shot into that secondary.
Griffin now, 6 carries, 27 yards. And as you saw, he's gained 100 yards or more in 21 consecutive games, including the Rose Bowl. It's second down and 2 yards to go for Ohio State. Cornelius Green keeps it. He's got a first down as he reaches the Michigan 45-yard line. So with 2 minutes and 37 seconds to play in the first quarter, Ohio State moving again, but Michigan leads it 10-0.
He looks like he can fly too, Keith. Got a nice hole there, and he was ready to take off. It's like sitting on a keg of dynamite playing defense against these people.
The last couple of years, it's been a defensive struggle. Today, it may be entirely different. The way we're starting with it. First down for the Buckeyes. Go to Griffin. Griffin tries the left side. moving it from just outside the 45 down to the 44, got the better part of 2 yards on the play. Strinko, number 59, fine linebacker for Michigan. Always around the ball, playing with a sore knee, hurt the knee in the Purdue game, but there was no way you could keep him out of this football game, and he's the man that really locked up Archie Griffin on the carry. Let's call it second down and about 9 for Ohio State. As Green pitches the ball to Griffin, big hole right side. Griffin is down to the 30-yard line. Dave Brown came up from the secondary to make the stop. 14-yard gain for Archie Griffin, another first down for Ohio State. Michigan came into the ball game 10 wins and no losses. Archie now needs 28 yards to break his own Big Ten rushing record. Ohio State 9-1 coming into this game, second and third in the UPI poll. And Pete Johnson, the fullback, carries the ball into the middle. Tim Davis, the middle guard, makes the stop. Johnson became a sensation for Ohio State in the Rose Bowl against Southern California last year when he had a tremendous day as the Buckeyes won that ball game. And he's very much a part of the Ohio State offense, and he's only a sophomore. Inside a minute to go now in the first quarter, with Michigan leading at 10-0. 50 seconds to play. Ohio State second down and 7 yards to go. The ball is inside the 28. Green keeps the ball. Gillick is after him, shirt tails him, and drags him down back on the 35-yard line. It was Gillick, number 81, who made the first contact with Green. Greg Morton, 77, came over to polish him off. He lost 7 yards.
Yeah, that's a big defensive play for Michigan. Not only forces Ohio State into a passing situation, also gets them out of field goal range.
The ball is back exactly on the 35-yard line of Michigan. First quarter is about gone as the clock continues to run. We're inside 10 seconds now. This will be the last play of the first quarter. Third down and about 14 yards to go as Cornelius Green gets outside. He's got one blocker, but he gets it back down to about the 30-yard line, and there he is buried. And time has expired at the end of the first quarter at Ohio Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Michigan 10, Ohio State nothing. Tom Claiborne, number 6, is in the lineup. He will try a field goal. He will hit the football from, let's say, the 37-yard line. That is a 47-yard field goal try. He's kicked 4 out of 6 this year. Ohio State scoreless in the first quarter. Bad snap. It comes rolling back to him, but he's got enough on it. And it is good. A 47-yard field goal by Tom Claiborne. And Ohio State is on the board. With the wind at his back.
That was a great kick because the snap was poor, and he juggled the snap. The kid kept his concentration, kept his eye on the target, and kicked right through the football. That is a super kick.
Have another look at it and watch the work of the holder here. Brian Bashnagel picks up the ball, puts it on the tee, takes his time. Claiborne kept his poise and drilled it. 47 yards. But he did have the wind at his back.
Makes you wonder whether maybe Michigan should have called timeout just before that quarter was over. Made him kick it into the wind.
Incidentally, Ohio State failing to score in that first quarter. That's the first time this entire season the Buckeyes have not put some points on the scoreboard in the first quarter of the game. As you look at the first quarter statistics in Michigan, Ohio State with the 2 moves beginning to catch up in total yardage. Michigan over 100, 107. The Buckeyes have 84. And the turnover, well, the Buckeyes turned it over. Michigan's return, Gordon Bell, Gil Chapman, and Rob Lytle. And the kick is deep. It goes to Chapman a yard deep in the end zone. He got a good block down around the 15-yard line to get him back to the 21. Brought down by Aaron Brown, number 55, and Max Midland, number 21. At 4 o'clock Eastern Time today, the other half of our Rose Bowl doubleheader as USC and UCLA, the Trojans of Southern Cal and the Bruins of UCLA, battle in the Los Angeles Coliseum. And Bear Bryant will be joining Chris Schenkel for that ball game. We have with us here in Columbus, Ohio today, Joe Paterno of Penn State University. 21-yard line as Franklin gives the football to his fullback, Chuck Heater, and Heater takes it to the 26. That's a pickup of about 5 yards. And on the sidelines, Ohio State's snapping and holding team getting in some practice. Second quarter of play just getting underway, and it's Michigan 10, Ohio State 3. Michigan in white, Ohio State wearing the red. Buckeyes have 7 men up along that front. The linebackers have moved right in tight. They give the ball to Gordon Bell, and he isn't going anywhere against that kind of a defensive alignment. Gains a yard at the most as Arnie Jones, number 42, a linebacker, was the first to get him. So it brings up 3rd down, and they need 4. Arnie Jones, number 42, stepped right into the seam, right into the crack, and came across on the angle with Van de Cree. Put him away. All right, Smith, number 37, comes wide to the right for Michigan on 3rd down and 4 at the 27-yard line. And Dennis Franklin slides down the line, pitches that ball outside to Bell. Bell gets around the corner. He's exciting. He goes to the 39-yard line before Bruce Elia can run him down.
Keith, there was a great block by the tight end on that defensive halfback. He just came off that line of scrimmage, got in good position, and made a good block to give that. Yeah, here you see 84. He's clearing the line of scrimmage. Now he turns upfield, gets that guy in good position. All right. There you go, right there. Drives him out. And watch that ball carrier turn up inside of him.
The man he took out was 46, Steve Luke. First down, Michigan from the 40-yard line. The play goes up the middle. And it's good for almost 5. Maybe it is good for 5 yards as Chuck Heater gets a big banging around. Heater was a halfback previously, moved into the fullback spot. Says he now has finally learned to absorb the punishment that goes with the fullback position. Look at the total yardage by Michigan to the opponents for the year. That'll tell you something about their defense.
Come on, Old, come on.
Followed a 5-yard gain. 2nd down and 5, just shy of the 45. Franklin. Slip. He went down going to his left. The left ankle is his sore ankle. Lost a little bit of real estate, about a yard. Call it 3rd down and 6 now for Michigan. Ball is at the 44.
Ohio State's got to stop him on one of these 3rd down plays, get that football back.
3rd down and 6 from the 44. Michigan 4 out of 5 in converting 3rd down plays. Franklin back to throw. He gets it over the middle. It is intercepted. Picked off by Bruce Elia. And Elia brings the ball back to the Michigan 44-yard line. The pass was intended for Denbor 84. And Bruce Elia picks it off, and Ohio State has the ball as Michigan leads 10-3. All right, there is Michigan's turnover. First of the ball game, Ohio State getting the ball at the 44-yard line. 1st down. The pressure now will shift over to the Michigan defense.
You know, that's the danger of throwing the ball over the middle. Sometimes it looks like the receiver's wide open, but all of a sudden the linebacker pops up. The passes out in the flat are actually safer than those over the middle.
Let's see if Ohio State can cash it in from the Michigan 44. It's Griffin. He's really popped as he comes to the line of scrimmage. I don't think he gained much on that play. Strinko 59, Larry Banks 32. Really nailed him. Have a look at Strinko now as he smells the ball.
See, Strinko makes a nice move up into the line, then comes laterally, Goes in between those two blocks, and then he really pops him like you're supposed to hit him. Gets that head in there and lifts him a little bit, knocks him back.
Second down and 10. Ohio State, Michigan 44. Green gives to Griffin again. Griffin breaks a tackle. He breaks 2 tackles, and he goes down to the Michigan 38-yard line. Strinko had him. He ran right through him that time. So it looks to me like, Joe, that Strinko is the man who's told every time Griffin moves, you go with him.
Well, he's reacting to the flow, and here he's in fine position, but as he hits, he doesn't quite wrap. So he doesn't quite get those arms around that powerful thighs that Griffin has, and Griffin breaks it and runs over him. So he's in great position.
Gain 6 yards. Third down, 4. Griffin again, outside. First down. Takes it down to the Michigan 25-yard line. First down, Ohio State. Carl Russ made the stop. 14-yard gain for Griffin. Bartosik, 87 in at tight end. France out for Ohio State. And you see Griffin accumulating numbers again today. Griffin carries one more time. He's inside the 20 down to the 17-yard line before Larry Banks brings him down. He took it for 8 yards, and he should have broken his own Big Ten rushing record with that carry. Depends on exactly where they put it. They put it at the 17. He does have 8 yards. He's now picked up 70 yards in 12 carries.
Ohio State is starting to work into the sideline as we thought Michigan would against Ohio State there. Michigan's got their Wolfman out, Dufek out to the open field, and Ohio State's running back in here into the sideline.
Cornelius Green keeping the ball. No place to go. The play did not develop as it was conceived, and Green was suddenly left naked out there, and he lost 5 yards. Dufek, the Wolfman, makes the stop, number 35.
See, this time Ohio State decided to go to the open field, and Dufek was in great position.
So the loss is back to the 22-yard line, where it is now third down and 7 for Ohio State at the Michigan 22. Bashnagel in motion. Green gives the ball to Pete Johnson, the fullback. Coughed it up, but he was down before he released the ball, and the advance of the football to about the 19. So it'll bring up a 4th down. They need 3 yards, better part of 4 yards, really. 4th down and 4. Did they go for the field goal again? Well, I don't see Claiborne.
They're going for it, Keith. Tough call, tough decision.
Woody Hayes made it 4th down and 4 at the Michigan 19. You got to figure Griffin. He's got it. He's got the first down. Archie Griffin goes to the 11-yard line. Dufek had a shot at him and just missed him. Griffin now 13 carries and 78 yards. What a gut-tough play that was.
Great execution and great running.
First down, Ohio State at the Michigan 11. Michigan leading 10-3 with 7:35 to go in the first half. Griffin again runs into the right side and gets to the 9. Rick Koshak, middle guard, 92, made the stop. Tim Davis out of there, hobbled off the field a moment ago.
I think if Archie just kept that thing a little bit wider, he had a nice crack to the outside, but I think he was so determined to go in there and get 3 or 4 that he might have missed that hole just a little bit to the outside. He had some great blocking.
Just inside the 9. Second down. Griffin gets a couple of yards, maybe the 7-yard line. Calvin O'Neill, 96, linebacker. Perlinger, 97, tackle. There, Bruce Elia, the man who intercepted Dennis Franklin's pass, which gave Ohio State possession at the Michigan 44. Elia was a fullback last year when Henson got hurt. Elia stepped in and played fullback for him. He's a fine athlete. He went back to his first love, linebacking, this year. It is third down. The ball is just inside the 8-yard line of Michigan. Cornelius Green looking for a gap in the line. There was nothing there. Perlinger's Morton, both of them pinching in and sealed him off with help from Koshak. So now here is fourth down. The ball is at the Michigan 8-yard line. Fourth down, they need 7 yards for a first down and 8 yards for the touchdown. If they go for the field goal, and they will, as Claiborne comes in, it'll be a 25-yard field goal try. From the 15, Baschnagel gets another bad snap, but gets it down. The kick is up, and it is good. So Tom Claiborne hits a 47-yard field goal. Now he's at a 25-yard field goal. And with 5:50 to go in the first half, Michigan 10, Ohio State 6. Doug Porter is a freshman in doing the snapping for the kicks for Ohio State. And again, that snap was a little off target, but Baschnagel is a pretty good shortstop. Handled that ball well, and Claiborne has drilled it. Gil Chapman now, number 24, is the deep man standing at the goal line. Flanking him are Gordon Bell and Rob Lytle. Ohio State getting 2 field goals from Tom Claiborne, trail in the ball game by a score of 10-6. Michigan has been very quiet offensively here in the second quarter. After dominating the first quarter, they bump together in the end zone, Bell and Chapman, and they will down it there, and Michigan will have the football, first down, at the 20-yard line. Watch Baschnagel here, number 48, Holder now. Watch him. Ball comes scooting back inside right at the shoe top. Scoops it up, handles it with soft hands, puts it on the tee, and Claiborne popped it right through.
Well, Baschnagel's a great athlete. Great athlete. Another good Pennsylvania boy, Keith.
A lot of good old Pennsylvania boys going to be busting helmets Thanksgiving night.
Yeah.
That's and Penn State. You'll see it over most of these ABC stations at 9 Eastern Time, Thanksgiving night. Dennis Franklin gives the football to Gordon Bell, the tailback. He tries to go up the right side. There's nothing there but a mass of humanity. He'll get a yard out of the play. Since Dennis Franklin threw the touchdown pass of 42 yards to Gil Chapman, he's 0 for 3 and has had 1 intercepted. But his football team, the Michigan Wolverines, wearing the white, leading by a score of 10-6 with 5:25 to go in the first half. Franklin still got it. Gets around the corner, turning, running right into that sore ankle, the left ankle, made his cut on it. Moved the ball up to about the 28-yard line for a pickup of 7 on the play. And Ken Kuhn, number 54, Ohio State linebacker, made the stop. Here's Jim Lampley.
Archie Griffin handled most of the road work in that last drive on gimpy legs. He's got a hip pointer on the left hip. He's got a thigh bruise on his right thigh. They had an ice pack on him for a short period of time, and he'll definitely play some more.
He got that hip pointer, incidentally, in that 16-13 loss to Michigan State. Here's Dennis Franklin getting around the corner again. Getting across the 30 to the 32. He's got a first down for the Michigan Wolverines. Tim Fox, number 12, safety man, the stop for Ohio State.
Franklin's got absolutely super judgment on that play. He seemed to be able to duck in, sometimes inside the end, sometimes outside the end. He knows when to pitch it. He takes it to the end when he wants to pitch it. He doesn't let anybody force him out of his pattern. He's playing a much steadier football game than Green. I think Green's going to have to settle down a little bit so that Ohio State can be as consistent as they have to be.
We're back at Ohio Stadium. The football is at the 34-yard line of Ohio State. Mike Lantry is in to try a field goal from the 41-yard line. That's a 51-yard field goal. Will he try for it against a 15-20-mile-an-hour wind? Yep. It has absolutely no chance. The ball skitters off the foot, goes into the end zone, and Ohio State holds, takes over first down at their own 20-yard line with 1 minute, 11 seconds to play in the first half, and Michigan leading it 10-6. the Ohio State defense stopping Michigan. Michigan has been relatively quiet here in the second quarter of play. Ohio State with 1:11 to go in the first half of the ball game. Let's see what Woody Hayes decides to do. Whether or not he'll just run it out or whether he'll put it up. Cornelius Green on the option, turns around, gets from the 20 out to about the 22-yard line. Joe, do you suspect that
I would doubt very much if they're going to throw the football right now. Actually, Ohio State's in good position. They've come back from a 10-0, behind 10-0. They've come back and had some good drives. Actually, Michigan has not stopped them. They've only had to punt once, I believe, and I think they're just not going to get careless now and go in behind by more than the 4 points. They're in good shape, and I would imagine he's just going to try to run that clock out.
Second down and 8 yards to go from the 22. Green steps back to throw, keeps it himself, and runs it out to about the 26-yard line before Greg Morton and Dan Gillick bring him down. And we got less than a minute to go in the first half of play. Now time called for a moment off the field. So time is out on the field with 45 seconds to play in the first half. Michigan leading Ohio State 10-6. You know, a recent NCAA study reveals some interesting facts about participation by students in intercollegiate athletics and intramural activities. Probably no surprise to you, football has the most participants at the intercollegiate level, but cross-country, golf, soccer, swimming are fast-growing sports on campus. More students are taking part in some athletic endeavor than ever. 11.8% more men taking part in intercollegiate competition than 5 years ago, and over 50% more women. In the intramural activities, 35.7% more students, men and women, competing now than previously. And to support this student interest, the nation's universities and colleges have, in this year of 1974, a combined total of $1.9 billion in facilities, investment, and annual operating funds. And what all these facts and figures mean is that the educational system is the dominant factor in this nation in providing motivation, training, coaching, and facilities for sports and for recreational pursuits. All right, the whistle tells us on third down and 3 yards to go for Ohio State. 45 ticks remaining on the clock in the first half. Griffin hit at the line of scrimmage, slides away, and gets it across the 30 to the 32-yard line, and a first down for Ohio State.
We may see Ohio State throw the ball now, Keith. They've got a little better field position, and they may decide that they can take a chance with a couple of deep passes or maybe a little screen or something of that nature.
Clock is running, 35 seconds. Cornelius Green fakes the pass, keeps it, tries to break it outside, and gets it up across the 40 to the 42. He'll be a little bit short of his first down. Green has carried 9 times, picked up 10 yards. He's now wiped out his losses, and time is called by Ohio State. So we have 26 seconds to play. Buckeyes spend another timeout, and Green comes to the sidelines. Cornelius Green, offensive co-captain, and he is out of Washington, D.C. At 4 o'clock Eastern Time today, in the Los Angeles Coliseum, the USC Trojans and the UCLA Bruins. Here's Jim Lempley.
There's a lot of superstition that surrounds this football game, and because of it, the Michigan football players under Bo Schembechler are staying in their 3rd hotel in 5 years here in Columbus. Bo won't stay in a hotel where his team has lost before, and they haven't won in Columbus since he's been coaching there. So this time they stayed at a new one. And by coincidence, they wound up staying directly across the street last night from the Ohio State players who stayed in a motel on Friday night. They could eyeball each other out the window, theoretically. That's just one of the many ways in which superstition affects this huge rivalry between Michigan and Ohio State. Keith?
All right, Jim, I'll guarantee you one thing. There was a moment during the season where a couple of Big Ten teams got together after their game and had supper. You didn't have any of that last night, nor will you have it tonight between these two. It is second down. Very short yardage for the first down from the 42. Green turns it inside, gets his first down as he runs it out to the Ohio State 48-yard line. Tim Davis cut his feet from under him. And the clock now stopped as the chains are moved with 21 seconds to play in the first half. Michigan leading 10-6 over Ohio State. Green back, wants to throw, does get it off, goes to the sideline. Pass good to Hazel. He's down at the 26-yard line of Michigan. 10 seconds to play, 25-yard gain.
Right now, they're right on the verge of field goal range. He's got, what, 10 seconds? They may go for the kick right now. I don't know. I think they have one timeout left. They may run it, call timeout, and then kick it. Here's the pass play to Hazel. He kind of just drifted out there in that right flat. And Green moved around, scrambled a little bit, spotted him, and threw the ball out there.
Ohio State with one timeout remaining, only 10 seconds remaining on the clock here in the first half.
I would imagine they'll run that ball to the left over here, give it to Griffin off tackle left, try to get it right in the middle of the goalpost.
First down at the Michigan 26. Griffin goes instead of the left to the right. So the ball is going to be on the right hash mark as Cal O'Neill makes the stop for Michigan with 6 seconds to play in the first half. So Bashnagel comes in to hold it. And Tom Claiborne, a junior out of Cincinnati who's kicked a 47-yarder. He's kicked a 25-yarder, will now try a 43-yard field goal for Ohio State. Here's Jim.
There was a big groan on the Ohio State bench just then when Archie Griffin went the wrong way. Obviously, he was supposed to bring the ball back toward the middle of the field so they could get a better angle on the field goal. Griffin went outside instead of coming back that way, and everybody on the bench turned around and went, oh, no. Keith?
Well, Claiborne's a side wheeler. He wheels into it soccer style, so soccer kickers normally hook the ball a little bit anyway, so maybe it won't matter that much. We'll see. He's got the wind at his back. I find it very hard to fault Archie Griffin for anything.
I don't blame you, Keith.
43-yard effort. High. He hooked it all right. He got it. With only 2 seconds remaining on the clock before the end of the first half, Ohio State pulls within a point as Tom Claiborne gets his 3rd field goal. Another look at it. Now watch Bashnagel, the holder. Well, he's been handling the ball all day. This time he went for the holder. 3 for 3 in a pressure ball game like this. Not too bad for that young man.
Boy, they're great kicks. That one had a lot of distance, a lot of height. I would imagine now they'll probably onside kick this thing. I doubt they'll kick it deep with 2 seconds to go.
10-9. Nope, little chip shot, short. It goes to Chapman down at the 8-yard line. And Chapman is dragged down. And the first half is over. So after 30 minutes of football here at Ohio Stadium, we have just about what we expected. A struggle. The Michigan Wolverines, 10. Ohio State University, 9. And we have the bands representing both these great universities to perform at halftime for you. Now, let's go to Bill Fleming in New York.
All right, thank you very much, Keith. And what an exciting first half it was between those two teams. And I can only say this, that it's always been exciting between Michigan and Ohio State. If you add up the scores in the last 5 years, you find out that Michigan, going into today's game, has 64 points. Ohio State has 63, and it's just that close right now. Let's take a look at some of the scores that we have right now. Iowa and Michigan State are waging quite a battle today. Michigan State went out 10-0, then fell back by the score of 14-10. Now regained the lead 24-21. Air Force and Notre Dame are playing today. Notre Dame leading by the score of 7-0. In the Tennessee-Kentucky game, Ricky Townsend of Tennessee, the barefooted kicker, has kicked a 25-yard field goal. In the first quarter, it's 3-0 Tennessee in that one. This game started early so that the players could watch the Ohio State-Michigan game, and Ohio U won it 35-0. That's a final. And finally, Yale over Harvard by the score of 7-0. You're watching another exclusive of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television. We'll return for halftime festivities at the Michigan-Ohio State game. But first, let's pause for station identification.
Burt Lancaster stars in Valdez is Coming, tonight on ABC.
Okay. All righty. Okay. The Michigan Band is on the field, performing here at halftime, directed by George Carpenter, as the Michigan Wolverines lead the Ohio State Buckeyes by a score of 10-9 at halftime. Michigan getting on the board with this touchdown play, a 42-yard pass run play from Michigan quarterback Dennis Franklin. Took his time, hit Gil Chapman, number 24, over the middle. Chapman shaking off a tackle, took it in for the touchdown, just getting it into the corner. Here was the key moment for him as he was able to shake that Ohio State tackler, then got a good block downfield and took it into the corner for the touchdown, and the Wolverines had the score. That plus a 37-yard field goal, but Mike Lantry gave them a 10-0 lead. But now Tom Claiborne has come back to kick 47-25, and this 43-yarder to give Ohio State its total at halftime of 9 points, and that's where we are. 10-9, Michigan leading Ohio State here at Ohio Stadium. The day is perfect. Temperature about 60 degrees. You can't find a cloud, and it's a marvelous day for a college football game. What better game could you have than this one? Right now, let's rejoin the Michigan Band, directed by George Carpenter, and some music under the theme of Let's Dance, and it'll feature the music of Duke Ellington. I'd also say it features the music of Benny Goodman, and you'll hear a song in this group made famous by a gentleman named Gene Krupa. Gene Krupa was once a soloist with the Michigan Band. From the clarinets of Benny Goodman's famous Let's Dance. They'll move now into the formation and take us back to 1954 when at Michigan Stadium the late Gene Krupa joined this great organization, and the music will be Sing, Sing, Sing. Sing, sing, sing. And had Joe Paterno's toes a-tapping up here. We're going to take that tour of the Michigan campus in just a moment. We want to see the finale of the great Michigan band. As they'll move now into the Duke Ellington music of Take the A Train. Duke, of course, and the music, Duke Ellington. It is not a salute to Wayne Duke, the commissioner of the Big Ten. Though they may well take that posture if Michigan goes on to win the football game. Somebody mentioned Duke Blue Devils. The Michigan band concluding its halftime performance under George Cavender. Now let's join Jim Lemley.
It is certainly no surprise to find many productive programs of research into the uses and misuses of the automobile at the University of Michigan. Most state universities reflect the endemic cultural and industrial concerns of their states. Here at Ann Arbor, many of these programs' research involve Pete and others like him at the Highway Safety Research Institute. Pete is an integral part of accident studies here. He may well eventually be useful in helping to save thousands of lives. The Institute is a $3.5 million research unit funded by gifts, grants, and contracts from a wide variety of agencies and organizations. There are some 50 different research projects in progress here, including field studies of accidents, tests of human tolerance of impact, psychological tendencies of drivers, and various examinations of the performance of automotive equipment. The program is interdisciplinary, and the staff capabilities and methods employed here lend themselves to a number of other research areas, such as aircraft safety, urban transportation, evaluation of social change, and alcoholism.
Since there are times you need a gasoline station, even when you don't need gasoline. Your independent Texaco retailer also stocks a complete line of quality automobile accessories, including top-grade tires and long-lasting batteries, just in case. At Texaco, we're working to keep your trust.
This is one of the most sophisticated and ambitious efforts in the United States to create a completely solarized home. It's the product of a joint effort on the part of the Ohio State University and private industries. It's a model for future homes which can be temperature controlled completely through the use of solar energy. And it's constructed entirely through the use of materials currently available for conventional construction. The energy used to heat and cool the home is produced through the use of solar panels strategically located on the roof. Scientists say that as much as 70% of the energy expended in the average household goes to heating or cooling, and the cost of solar panels can be amortized against that of other available forms of energy in 6 to 10 years. The panels have the capability of maintaining a constant temperature level within the house for up to 5 days, even in the complete absence of sunlight. The solar home is part of an ongoing effort at Ohio State and other universities across the country to find alternative forms of energy. This year, as in past years, Chevrolet continues its program of awarding scholarships to general academic funds in the name of outstanding players in our televised game. One of the winners here at Ohio State is Kay Louderback. Kay, how did the money help you pursue your college education?
Well, I got to go to summer school last year instead of having a full-time job. And so this way I can graduate on time in June, which is very important for education majors.
Thank you, Kay Louderback. Now let's go back up to Keith Jackson.
Thank you, Jim. The Ohio State University Marching Band, directed by Paul Truste, is now on the field, performing at halftime, and the theme of their halftime program, the remembrance of the beginnings of a nation. There's an interesting story. A young man that has joined the formation here for the halftime performance of the Ohio State University Band. Some of the bandsmen were out on the cement behind the stadium yesterday having a little game of touch football. And one of the boys broke an ankle. Greg Daniels of Shelby, Ohio, a math major who has never before marched in the Ohio State Band, but who has been a participant in it, is suddenly involved in what's happening here right now. And the reason Greg Daniels is worth noting is because he is blind, but a fine musician. The Ohio State University Marching Band. The Michigan-Ohio State game brought to you by Ryder Truck Rental. If you need 1 truck, 10 trucks, or 100 trucks for a day, a month, or for years, remember, Ryder rents trucks. By the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. By Chevrolet, you're invited to see Chevy's lineup for 1975 at your Chevy dealers now. Chevrolet makes sense for America. And by Texaco and the many thousands of independent Texaco retailers and distributors in all 50 states. With our halftime score of 10-9, let's turn for a moment to the head football coach at Penn State University, Joe Paterno. Get your comments off the first half and what you think might happen in the second half.
Well, I thought it was a great first half. Both teams, of course, moved the ball much better, I think, than anybody expected. There was 1 punt in the first half, and I think we had maybe 23 first downs as opposed to only 25 in the entire football game last year. I think the thing that's going to happen now is 2 things. I think, number one, Michigan cannot kind of play it too tight. I think after they get that interception, after Franklin threw the interception, they've kind of settled down and just want to run the football. I think they've got to play a little looser than that. They can't play scared. They've got to come out and play it as if they were behind. And on the other hand, I think Ohio State has to be careful that they don't try to get back in a hurry. Just play the game they can play. They obviously have kind of started to get control of the football game. They look a little stronger as the game went on. They're getting stronger and stronger. And I think if they keep their poise and Michigan will go out and play this football game as if they were behind, we could have one great second half.
Joe Paterno of Penn State University. With more than 88,000 people watching here at halftime, our score is Michigan 10, Ohio State 9, and we're just moments away from the second half.
Ohio is one of the few, if maybe the only state in the Union where scalping of tickets is still legal. And there have been some bizarre things going on this week. 55 ads in the daily newspaper the other day offering tickets for prices $100 up. Pedro Crampecher and his brother tried to get $10,000 for 2 tickets. He didn't sell.
No, it didn't. It was just too high.
What was your highest offer?
$3,000 for each ticket.
$3,000, and the seats aren't even that good, are they, Pedro?
No, they're pretty good, but we decided we are going to sit in the most expensive seats on this stadium, probably in the history of football in the United States.
The most expensive seats in the stadium, and that is a measure of how insane the entire atmosphere surrounding this rivalry is. Now back up to Keith Jackson.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. I don't know, I'd say I'd do a lot of thinking before I'd say no to a $3,000 offer.
You know, come to think of it, I think ABC's got the most expensive seat in the house.
Yeah, you're right. The halftime statistics, this is Keith Jackson along with Joe Paterno. Penn State football coach Jim Lampley, we're ready to go with the second half of play. And in the first half, they come off relatively even with Ohio State holding an edge in time of possession. The turnovers evened out at 1 apiece. Offensive plays, Ohio State 37 and Michigan had 31. And on the scoreboard where it is most important, they're also very even with Michigan leading 10-9. At 4 Eastern Time, over most of these ABC stations, ABC brings you the second half of today's top NCAA college football doubleheader. The 7th-ranked Trojans of the University of Southern California, led by A.D. Davis, Anthony Davis, who is their Heisman Trophy candidate, will square off against crosstown rival the UCLA Bruins. And that will, as usual, be a war, just like this one. It's 2 quality football teams. They get it going at 4 Eastern Time. Bear Bryant and Chris Schenkel will document that game for you. Gil Chapman, number 24, in white, goes deep for Michigan. He's flanked by Gordon Bell and Rob Lytle. Kicking off will be Skladany for Ohio State. Tom Skladany out of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Same place that the Michigan center Dennis Franks comes from, and he got all of it that time with about a 20-mile-an-hour wind at his back, knocked it completely off the playing surface. Michigan will put it in play, first down at the 20-yard line. And the Wolverines open like this along the front with Smith, King, Lewis, Franks, Armour, Tumpane, and Dinbor. And in the backfield, they will have Dennis Franklin, number 9. Gordon Bell will be the tailback, number 5. Chuck Heater, 44, is the fullback, and Gil Chapman will be the wingback. That's the way they line up. For Ohio State defensively along the front, the 4 down men will be Van de Cree, Nick Bonamisi, Pete Cusick, and Jim Cope. And here we go. Franklin gives the ball to Gordon Bell, and Bell from the 20 goes to the 23. for a pickup of 3 yards as linebacker Arnie Jones and Nick Bonamici, the left tackle. The linebackers for Ohio State, 36 Elia, 42 Jones, 9 Ken Thompson, number 20 Neil Colsey, 46 Steve Luke, 28 Doug Plank and Tim Fox. Number 12, all the deep men, defensively. Jim Zier now comes in. No, it is Dave Metz in, replacing Kirk Lewis at the left guard position for Michigan. On 2nd down and 7, Franklin pitches the ball to Bell, sweep it left, cuts it back against the grain. And he gets it up to the 27, 28-yard line before Elia, Bruce Elia, who had a pass interception in the first half, makes the stop. Have a look at Bruce.
Yeah, look, Cusick forces the play back in. They want to go outside, and watch Elia here following along the line of scrimmage. He gets even up, and there he goes, moves, boom, right in there. Good tackle.
But Gordon Bell is now past 100 yards. He has carried 19 times and gained 102 yards. He is the leading ball carrier in this game. He has gained more yardage than Archie Griffin so far. Archie has 89 yards and 17 carries. On 3rd down and 2 yards to go, Franklin gives to Bell. Bell trying to get outside. He can't do it. Great defensive flow. Van Decree, number 88, and Doug Plank, number 28. Coughed up the ball, but they're going to call the ball down at about the 27-yard line, and Michigan will punt it away. This is the second punt in the ball game. Last year, they punted 12 times in this ball game. I kind of get the feeling at the moment that Ohio State is the one that's really breathing fire, but we'll see as we begin the second half. Great pressure on the punter, Anderson. John Anderson gets it off, a short kick. It goes to Batchnagel, and Batchnagel brings it back across midfield. Ohio State has the football, first down at the Michigan 48-yard line, 30 yards on the punt, and a 10-yard return. And along the front for Ohio State, it'll be France, Schumacher, Smith, Myers, Mack, Danley, Hazel. And in the backfield, it'll be Cornelius Green at quarterback, Archie Griffin at tailback, either Henson or Johnson at full. As soon as they break out, we'll detail it for you. And Batchnagel, the wingback, it'll be Pete Johnson, number 33, the big sophomore. He's a 246-pounder. First down at the Michigan 48-yard line. They go to Griffin, and he is nailed at the line of scrimmage, but he goes up over the top. He'll get a yard out of the effort, as Jeff Perlinger, number 97, was the man who put the pad to him. You see some scores from the other traditional games around the country. Dartmouth has jumped ahead of Penn in the second quarter, and Cornell and Princeton having at it. 0-0. Brown, Maryland and Virginia, 0-0, and the Blue Devils are leading North Carolina 7-0. It is here at Ohio Stadium, 10-9, Michigan. As we start the second half on 2nd down and 9, Griffin from the 47 to the 44 for 3 more yards. So he's got a total of 91 yards so far in the ball game. 93 yards.
Looks to me as if Griffin is really hurting a little bit. He didn't hit that hole quite as quick as he should have, and it. I don't know whether, with that hip pointer, he's having a little trouble pushing off out of his stance.
Well, he's got a hip pointer on one side and a bruised thigh on the other. But he's a package of determination. Here they go. 3rd down, 5 from the 44. Green to throw, getting pressure, gets away from Gillett. He gets the first down, turns it outside and runs out of bounds. Inside the 35-yard line, he gained 11 yards.
That's the thing that drives defensive coaches nuts. When a quarterback, you've got him hung up and you lose leverage on him. People on the backside contain, got a little careless, and if a kid as quick as Green, why, you're in trouble.
Ball is at the 33-yard line of Michigan. First down, Ohio State. Michigan has led all the way. They went ahead 7-0, then 10-0, then 3 field goals by Tom Claiborne has pulled it back to 10-9. Buckeyes moving again as Green gives the ball to Pete Johnson, the fullback. And Johnson certainly didn't gain anything, may have lost something, as Tim Davis, number 56, the middle guard, penetrated for Michigan. At big 97, Perlinger, 235-pound junior out of Crystal, Minnesota, has played a lot of defensive tackle this afternoon for those Michigan Wolverines, too. There was a loss on the play of about a half yard. Second down, a little more than 10. That's Baschnagel in motion. Green throws it, misses Baschnagel coming to the sidelines. And right with him was Tom Drake, the defensive halfback for the Wolves. The Big Ten statement regarding the vote on the team to represent the Big Ten in the Rose Bowl. If Michigan wins or ties, the vote will be conducted by phone, probably decided right here at Ohio Stadium. If Ohio State wins the football game, the Big Ten athletic directors convene in Chicago tomorrow, and there they will cast their ballots. Green on third down, a little more than 10, tries to get out of it. He picked up yardage all right, down to about the 27-yard line before Carl Russ brings him down for Michigan, but he is short of the first down. So here quickly is Jim.
You see the Buckeye leaves that are implanted on the back of the Ohio State helmets. They signify any kind of achievement on the football field that's worth noting. It can be a key tackle, it can be a long run, it can be an interception, it can be a key block. They are just like little yellow footballs that are on the back of the Michigan helmets, which also signify those kinds of accomplishments. Keith Jackson.
All right, Jim, we're going to have another field goal by Tom Clavin. He's kicked 3 of them. He's going for his 4th, and it's a 45-yard effort with the wind at his back. He's got enough on it. It's good. He's 4 for 4. And Ohio State has the lead for the first time in the ball game, with 10 minutes and 9 seconds to play in the third quarter. I'll tell you one thing, that Brian Baschnagel is not only a great football player, he's a fine holder, and he's quite a cheerleader, too. As Ohio State kicks off, and they kick it deep, Skladany knocks it out of the end zone. And watch the emotion of Baschnagel after this kick. He's calling it before that ball's halfway there.
He's also a good official.
Yeah, Bob Fallon and his troops aren't having any of that. Don Mason's the umpire. Head linesman is Bill Filson. Gene Carabine is the line judge. Field judge is Otto Foles. The back judge is Donald Hakes. The old record, that is a new record, incidentally. The old record was Gary Carnes, most field goals in one game for Ohio State against Illinois back in 1966. Here comes Michigan now from the 20 as Dennis Franklin wants to put it up. Runs out of there. Gets it up to the 27. Bruce Elia, linebacker, had dropped off in short zone coverage and made the stop. Pete Cusick, I think, was the man that really put the heat on, and we've got a Buckeye down, shaken up on the play. That's number 42. It's Arnie Jones, a linebacker, who was coming from the other side, and he and Cusick got in there, and Arnie ran into something hard. Remember, USC and UCLA over most of these ABC stations at 4 today, Eastern Time. As the other half of the Rose Bowl struggle, let's have a look at Arnie, isolated here, and see if we can figure out how he got hurt. First contact. Then he takes second contact. He took a pretty good pop right there from that number 74, Kirk Lewis, knocked him down. And then he goes down a second time. And probably twisted a leg. Looked like he might have twisted a leg. And he's hobbling the left leg, and that's the one that was caught underneath the Michigan player. So Arnie is coming out for a moment. Going in to replace him will be number 55, Aaron Brown. Now, he is a freshman out of Warren, Ohio. And remember Joe Paterno when they said freshmen couldn't play varsity football?
Don't remind me. I once said it. I've had to eat a little crow on that statement.
We've got a 12-10 football game. Ohio State has the lead. Michigan with the ball. It is second down for the Wolverines. They need 2 yards for a first down. Give it away to Chuck Peter, the fullback, and he slants over the left side. Goes for the first down as he crosses the 30. He moved it in behind. Dennis Franks, the center, and Kirk Lewis, the left guard. The third quarter is a remarkable story for both these teams. Now, you can see Ohio State scored 107 points during the season, allowing only 3 points in the third quarter. And the 3 points that Ohio State just scored is the first time that Michigan has given up a single point this entire season in the third quarter. All right, it's first down at the 31-yard line for Michigan. Franklin gives to Heater again. Heater over the left side, hit by Pete Cusick. And the big guy from Lakewood, Ohio, that's up near Cleveland.
Keith, that's the first time we've seen two wide ends. Michigan was in a different formation than they've been right now. They've had three wide receivers in the ball game at the same time. Maybe they're going to start throwing that football a little bit more.
Peter got the better part of 3 yards. Call it second down and a long 7. Chapman and Smith both come way wide to the right. Keith Johnson is split off to the left side for Michigan as Franklin comes down the line with it. He's got no place to go, and Pete Cusick, number 71, knocked him loose from the football. He was down before the fumble. And Keith Johnson is down on the field, shaken up for Michigan. Gets up very slowly. So number 27, Keith Johnson, a junior out of Munster, Indiana, went into the secondary as a receiver and took a wallop. So time is out for the injured player for a moment. Linesman indicated a penalty. Looks vaguely familiar, that fellow does. Well, whatever. 8:19 to go, third quarter. It's Ohio State 12, Michigan 10. We had no flag on the play. Keith Johnson helped off the field. It is third down and a very long 7 for Michigan from the 33. And Franklin to throw. Under pressure. Cannot go. Ohio State's defense, led by Jim Cope, forces Franklin out of the pocket. And they bring him down at the line of scrimmage. And now Michigan will have to punt the football into the wind. Ohio State taking the lead here in the third quarter on the 4th field goal by Tom Clavin. John Anderson with Jeff Logan deep for Ohio State. High, good kick. Hangs up there. Fair catch called at the 30. Fumbled it. Covers it. 38 yards on the punt, but good hang time and good coverage by Michigan. Here's Jim.
Ohio State standout linebacker Arnie Jones is off the field for the time being with a bruised knee. He's got it wrapped. Trainers say he will go back into the ball game eventually. You play hurt in a game like this, Keith.
Ball is at the 30-yard line. First down for Ohio State. Got the go-ahead field goal. Last time they had the ball. Now let's see what Cornelius Green does with it. Gives the ball to Archie Griffin, hit at the line of scrimmage. He gets at least 1 yard, maybe a little more before Perlinger. Jeff reached in, got a piece of him, and hung on. As Joe Paterno, who is our commentator and analyst today, pointed out early in the ball game, Griffin, very, very powerful thighs and legs. If you don't get a firm grip, he'll just run right through you. You cannot arm tackle him. Give him a yard. 2nd and 9. This time it goes to Bashnagle. Bashnagle on a counter. The wingback coming inside. Gets it to the 47-yard line and a first down for Ohio State. He gained 16 yards.
Watch the block by the tackle trapping 72. Bashnagle cut up in a big hole. That was a well-executed play and well-called play. They called right at the right time. They needed a little misdirection. Michigan's been flowing to the ball very quickly. They needed a counter.
Kurt Schumacher, 72, was the man that threw the big block, the tackle. Green coming down the line, turns it inside, crosses midfield, goes to the Michigan 49-yard line. So he gained 4 on the play. Woody Hayes and his staff, looks like they'll send the play in. We have not seen a whole lot of substitutions in either offensive backfield. Bell has gone all the way today for Michigan at tailback. We've not seen Lytle. And Archie Griffin has been in there all the way. along with Pete Johnson at the setback positions for Ohio State. It is 2nd down and 6 from the Michigan 49. Johnson. Fumble. Michigan's got it. Tim Davis, number 56, trailing the play from his middle guard position, pounced on the football. Griffin shaken up, slow to get up. So Archie Griffin, who's playing bruised, took a wallop that time as he dove for the football. Ball was knocked loose from Pete Johnson, and Michigan comes up with a football, 1st down at their own 45-yard line.
Wonder why football coaches go crazy.
Well, it's a great opportunity now for Michigan. They have had little momentum since early in the 2nd quarter. Ohio State leading at 12-10 with 5.5 minutes to go. And they give it to Chuck Heater. Boy, there is no room there. Aaron Brown, a 222-pound freshman from Warren, Ohio, playing at the linebacker position, was in the backfield. Let's go back a play and look at a fumble. Here comes Pete Johnson now, the fullback, number 33. That's Dave Brown, who knocked the ball loose from Johnson. And we come back now to live action on the field as Michigan has a 2nd down and 9 from the 46. And Franklin's going to put it up. Passes away to the sidelines. The pass is complete to Jim Smith, and he's got a 1st down at the Ohio State 42-yard line. And number 67, Steve King, 6'5", 245-pound senior from Tiffin, Ohio, for Michigan, is down on the field. He was back pass blocking, and he's injured. We have 4 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter here at Ohio Stadium, and the Buckeyes lead the Wolverines 12-10. Watch number 67 there in your picture, Steve King, as he suffers a left leg injury. Now watch Cusick, number 71, who's a 250-pound weightlifter. He bench presses something around 500 pounds. Powerful man. King held him long enough, and then Cusick just hammered right over the top of him, and he suffered an injury to his left leg, and he is leaving the ball game. Steve King, incidentally, was injured in the Purdue game last week. So he is out of there right now, and Jim Hall, number 70, a 230-pound sophomore from Ypsilanti, Michigan, will come in to replace him, and the Michigan offense will miss King. But right now, the Wolverines have the football, 1st down at the Ohio State 42-yard line, with the Buckeyes leading 12-10. Bo Schembechler on the phones, talking, searching, and I'm sure hoping, as his ball club has it. Franklin, Heater, and Bell are the setbacks. Franklin coming along on the option, delivers it to Gordon Bell. Bell loses his footing, stumbles and falls back at the 46-yard line. Doug Plank was back there, but Bell just actually fell down that time.
That's a problem running that option to the open field when they have that extra back out there. It's pretty tough to handle him.
It moved Plank, who would be your safety, and he is outside, adding the extra man to the outer defense. Neil Colsey, number 20 now, goes wide to cover Jim Smith, who split to the top of the picture. And on 2nd down and 13, the pass is in the air, and it is short, intended for Smith. And Dennis Franklin goes down in a heap as Cusick leveled him just as he released the ball.
Keith, since about the middle of the 2nd quarter, Ohio State's defensive line has really started to take off and play great defense, and Cusick has really led them. He has come off the football, and that young kid in there, 55, that Aaron Brown, has had 2 or 3 great plays on that center. For a freshman, boy, he's big and strong and quick. They're really coming off the football now.
And you can see from the numbers there that Dennis Franklin has not had a great day, except for the touchdown pass that went to Gil Chapman, worked for 42 yards early in the game. They go to Bell, and Bell, cutting it up the middle, is dropped just short of the 40-yard line by Bruce Elia. And so we have 3 minutes and 35 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter, and Michigan now looks at 4th down and 8 yards to go. Into that wind, the field goal is just out of the question. It would be 57 yards, so they won't even think about it. John Anderson comes in to do the punting. He's a freshman out of Waukesha, Wisconsin, number 86. Has plenty of time, hangs it up there. Takes a good bounce for Michigan. And the Wolverines down the ball at the 6-yard line. And there Ohio State will have it after a 34-yard punt by John Anderson. He got just exactly what he wanted. Reverse action on the ball, and it is ruled dead. They'll move it at the 7 of Ohio State. The Buckeyes leading in the ball game by a score of 12-10. On 4 field goals by Tom Claiborne. Claiborne, a junior out of Cincinnati. It is Green, Johnson, Griffin, Baschnagel, Hazel, the wide man. Green keeps it. Will lose a yard, maybe 2. Davis, 56. Strinko, 59. Dufek, 35.
Actually, that was a game by Dufek. He stunned it in there right again. He's to the open field, and they tried to run that option to the open field. Dufek get in there and plugged and got to Green, and before Green wanted to make a decision.
He lost 2 yards, 2nd down and 12, coming from the 5-yard line of Ohio State. Story on Green so far in the game. Back to throw out of his end zone. They almost get him. Gets the ball away, intended for Baschnagel. And it's incomplete. And the Ohio State bench screams for an interference call, and they don't get it. Woody Hayes is on the field. Let's have another look at it and watch Baschnagel work his way downfield. Dufek covering him, number 35, the Wolfman, and Baschnagel's a little bit quicker than Dufek. Drake coming late on it. There was contact, but not enough in the judgment of the official. And we have a Michigan player down on the field. It is Greg Morton, number 77. Woody Hayes now retreats to the sidelines.
That was a real gutsy call by Ohio State. Dufek came in on the last play and plugged, and then they decided they were going to try to take advantage of his aggressiveness. Well, here Baschnagel certainly got position on Dufek. It's hard to tell from this angle whether he touches him there or not. He's really not playing the football, Dufek. He's only concerned right now with Baschnagel, and it's a tough call. Now he looks, and if he shoves him there, which I can't tell, then I think we've got interference. But if he doesn't, let's see. Does he? That's close. It's one of those calls. Yeah, if his left hand is on top of him over there, then we've got interference. Yeah, but if it's hard to really tell, let's see now.
Well, what would Ohio State-Michigan football game be without some moment of controversy?
The thing about the call was the referee, the official was right on top of it. He wasn't a good distance away from it. He was running with the play, so I would think that he probably made the right call.
Greg Morton is off the field now, suffered a leg injury, and John Hennessy will come in, number 71, a 235-pound sophomore from Chicago at the defensive tackle position. Morton leaves. Big Ten football squads have won 453 and tied 29 of the 798 contests played with non-conference opponents since 1945. And during this same time, 10 coaches have been recognized as Coach of the Year. So they know what they're doing when they play football in the Big Ten. It is 3rd down and 12 yards to go now from the 5-yard line for Ohio State. Their own 5, and they give it to Archie Griffin. He runs into the middle. He gets it out to about the 7, which would be the original line of scrimmage, and there he is thrown back. And it'll bring up 4th down and a punting circumstance for Ohio State. It'll be the 2nd punt in the ball game for the Buckeyes. And Tom Skladany, who has averaged 45.5 yards per punt coming into this ball game for the season, will have the wind at his back. Gets it off, and it's a beauty. Oh, is it a dandy. It goes all the way back to the 34-yard line. Dave Brown's coming back with it. A little bit. 58-yard punt. with a wind at his back and a 2-yard return by Dave Brown. And so out of the end zone, Skladany really nails one. The center, Steve Meyer. This is the preceding play.
See, now watch Myers. He gets into his man, then he raises up, keeps that leverage, stays tight, and that's just a great play. Yes. They're playing for keeps.
Drove him right in the ground, didn't he? He's a good one, number 52. All right, Michigan has the ball. Let's call it the 36-yard line, their own 36. We have a minute and 29 seconds to play in the third quarter. Ohio State leading 12-10. Aaron Brown at linebacker, who had moved up into the line, number 55, may have encroached on the play as penalty flags fly. Short yardage on the move by Chuck Heater. And we'll wait for the call.
I'm pretty sure it was Brown didn't get back in time.
It's 5 yards against Ohio State. We have not had many penalties, Terry, and that may be, we've had one on each side now. That's the first against the Bucks. I'll tell you something, emotion so high for a ball game, yet discipline so sound, they just simply not made that many mistakes. First down and 5 yards to go now from the 41-yard line for Michigan. With Heater and Bell set behind Franklin. That's Bell with the ball. Goes into the stack. He didn't get much out of it. The Ohio State defense has adjusted very, very well.
There again, Cusick just controlled. Take a look at Cusick here. He's just see him in there, just almost splits that double team, makes a pile, doesn't give him a crack to run in. That's great play.
It's second down. 4 yards to go from the 47 for Michigan. Ball loose. Nope. Sure, a lot of red shirts around that football, though, aren't there? Kuhn, 54.
Keith, there again is an interesting bit of play. The last play, Cusick took off so strong and beat the double team. This time they sent in a play to trap him. And he reacted to the trap perfectly and closed the hole and made the back go outside. Didn't get a gain. It was a good call by Michigan and just, again, a disciplined, poised defensive football player who reacted to what he saw and didn't get carried away with the momentum.
Chapman, who carried the ball on the last play, has left the game, and time has expired in the third quarter. So with 15 minutes of football remaining, it's Ohio State 12, Michigan 10. Going into this final quarter of play, a very important factor. As the teams reverse directions on the field, Michigan now will have the wind at their back. As Ohio State leads 12-10, it is third down and 3 yards to go for Michigan. The ball at their own 43-yard line. Franklin keeps it, turns the corner, he's got his first down. Dennis Franklin making that outside defender commit. Kept the ball and turned it in for the first down. And as you look at the third quarter statistics, well, the score tells you just as much as those numbers tell you. It is a very even football game. In the third quarter, the defense took over. Michigan gained only 35 yards. Ohio State only 48 yards. Franklin gives the ball to his fullback Heater on first down from the Michigan 47, and Heater works his way to midfield. Jim Cope, number 91, on the bottom of that pile for Ohio State. The ball is square at midfield. And we got a Buckeye hurt on the field. Time taken for just a moment. Nick Bonamici, a sophomore tackle out of Brentwood, New York, shaken up on the play and will come out of the ball game. with 14:22 to play, and Ohio State still leading it 12-10. Well, here we are, second down. 7 yards to go for Michigan. Directly at midfield. Ohio State leading 12-10. Gives to Gordon Bell, the tailback. And Bell has his legs taken from under him by Bruce Elia, linebacker who came firing in.
There's Elia. He reads the play and plugs. Now, this is what Ohio State's going to have to do. They're going to have to get in there and stop Michigan now, not let them get in position for a field goal, because then they've got to play behind with the wind in their face, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to have to throw that football if they don't, you know, in order to get caught up.
Elia, 4 tackles, 11 assists, and 1 interception so far today. Third down and 7 yards to go. The pass is intercepted by Colsey. Neil Colsey.
That shows you how important that play by Elia was. The fact that he forced Michigan into a passing situation.
All right, watch it here. As Smith, Jim Smith, the intended receiver, comes out, cuts to the sidelines on the out pattern. Now watch Colsey time it. Just step right in front of him. And here we go back to live action now. As a penalty flag is thrown, Ohio State puts the ball in play. First down from their own 39-yard line. The handoff is to Archie Griffin, the junior out of Columbus. And normally when you get that kind of a flag thrown from that direction, it's holding.
Tough penalty. Tough penalty.
If the play stands, and it will not, they'll back it up. That would have put Archie Griffin over 100 yards for a 22nd consecutive ball game. Some of the scores from around the country. A 15-yard penalty backs Ohio State, Tennessee, and Kentucky at halftime, with the Vols leading 13-0. Winner of that one will go against Maryland in the Liberty Bowl, which you'll see over most of these ABC stations. Ball is back at the 27-yard line for Ohio State, and they will have to go to the 49-yard line to get a first down as Pete Johnson runs it up the middle.
I don't think Ohio State's going to get careless and just throw that football, even though they've got long yardage. They may go on a rollout, and if the guy's wide open, throw the football, or Green will run it. But I don't think they want to take a chance throwing that football on a passing down into that wind right now.
It is second down and 20 yards to go for the Buckeyes. Griffin, he gets away. They had him nailed, and he slid out of there. Moved it from the 29 out to about the 32. That gives him 99 yards for the game, and look at that in the second quarter. That game is in Lincoln. And Nebraska goes into the Sugar Bowl against Florida, which you'll see over most of these ABC stations. Oklahoma will spend the holidays at home. It is third down and 18 yards to go for Ohio State. Green on a roll left, not going to put it up. He's hit as he tried to cut back against the green by Tim Davis and knocked down at the 35-yard line. That will bring up fourth down, and Ohio State leading in the ball game 12-10 with 11:35 to play will have to punt. Baylor and SMU, if the Baylor Bears win that, the Baptists are going to be in the Cotton Bowl for the first time in their history.
It's kind of interesting to me.
I would say so, because Joe Paterno's Nittany Lions will be in the Cotton Bowl New Year's Day. Here's the punt. Beautiful kick by Skladany. He is some kind of a punter. It is Brown running room back at the 10. He's back to the 12, and it's great coverage by Ohio State. 54 yards on the punt, and he hit it into a 20-mile-an-hour wind. A 2-yard return, and we've got 11 minutes and 6 seconds to play with the Bucks leading 12-10. All right, Michigan has the football. First down. They have marked it at the Michigan 13-yard line, where it is first down for the Wolverines. The wind at their back. Only 11 minutes and 6 seconds to play in the ball game, and Ohio State leading 12-10. Dennis Franklin gives the ball to his fullback, Chuck Quater, and he crosses the 15, gets it to the 16, maybe a little bit more than that. Elia and Cusick, who have been defensive giants for Ohio State in this ball game.
Sometimes the fans wonder why Ohio State wouldn't throw the football when they were third down and 12, 14 like that. But with a kicker like Skildany and the way they're playing defense now, that you play it a little bit safer than you would ordinarily if you didn't have good defense and good kicking.
Peter gained 4 yards, second down and 6. Franklin puts it up. Chapman's got it. He's in the secondary. First down at the 30-yard line. Tim Fox, number 12, the stop for Ohio State. 13-yard pickup and an isolated look at Gil Chapman.
They gave the linebacker the bait. They faked to the fullback, and the linebacker went up in there and left that alley wide open for Chapman. Ohio State's been playing so aggressively against the run. Michigan's got to do some of those things to keep those linebackers out of all the running plays.
Ball is on the 30, first down. Remember, the wind is at the back of Michigan, and Michigan has a fine field goal kicker in Lantry. And Ohio State leads by 2. There goes Bell on the pitch. He takes a wallop from Cope, number 91, as he starts to turn the corner. Steve Luke, 46, had come out of the defensive secondary to help on the play. Advance of the ball to the 36-yard line. That's a big 6-yard pickup on first down. Leaves them second down and 4. Bell now, 25 carries, 109 yards. He's the leading ball carrier in the game. And we have Lytle in at the tailback position, but it is Chuck Quater, the fullback, breaking it over the right side. Running behind Pat Trumpain and Jim Armour. Fox and Elia bring him down. It's a first down for Michigan. 13-yard pickup for the fullback, Chuck Quater. Rob Lytle is in at tailback now, 190-pound sophomore from Fremont, Ohio. The ball is at the 48-yard line of Michigan. The Wolverines first down. 9 minutes, 10 seconds to play in the game, and Ohio State leading by 2, 12-10. Peter inside, not much. Gets to midfield, and that time the Ohio State linebackers read it all the way. You could see him step right into the gap. Elia, Kuhn, both those linebackers step right into the holes, and there wasn't any room for Peter to go that time. He got just on pure muscle and momentum of his offensive line, 2 yards to midfield, where it is second down and 8. 8.5 minutes to play in the game. Franklin to throw. Gets it off to the sideline. Pass caught by Gil Chapman. He is out of bounds. He's a yard short of the first down. And Steve Luke was all over him. And he still caught it.
It's a dangerous throw. That's a great catch, great throw. He's right in there. Can't play it any better. Great throw.
It is third down and 1 at the 43-yard line of Ohio State. Bonamisi has come back into the defensive line for Ohio State. Rob Lytle, first down for Michigan as he sweeps and just put his head down and reached the 39-yard line. Peter and Franklin both were in front of him blocking. USC, UCLA at 4 Eastern time over most of these stations, and Anthony Davis needs 9 yards today against the UCLA Bruins to break O.J. Simpson.
Right now, I think right now Ohio State's going to have to take a little chance on defense and try to get Michigan in a 2nd and 12, something like that. They've got to stop them pretty quick.
First down at the 39-yard line. Franklin gives it to Heater. Heater running behind from Payne. and Armour. Elia and Jones, the linebackers, make the stop on him. He got a couple of yards. And we have 7 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the ball game. I'm going to say it one more time. The wind is at the back of Michigan. That is very important, because if they can get that ball down within reasonable field goal range, Mike Lantry will get a helping hand from Mother Nature. Remember, it was Lantry last year who missed a 44-yard try that might have won the game for Michigan. That famous 10-10 tie. Second down and 8 yards to go from the 38-yard line. Franklin. Cusick clobbered him. Pete Cusick has 5 solo tackles and 6 assists, and once again, our cameraman, our director, Andy Sedaris, and our producer, Chuck Howard's right on top of the right man at the right time. But this guy is something. It's impossible to control him.
I tell you, he comes off the football like that and drives into an offensive man. There are very few people going to be able to get him back at the line of scrimmage. That's crazy. He's just forcing that blocker back into the backfield.
Big play here, 3rd down and 12. 3rd down and 12 from the 41. Franklin's going to put it up. Goes with it to the sidelines to Lytle. Threw it behind him, and Lytle cannot catch it. And it is 4th down for Michigan at the Ohio State 42-yard line. Now what do?
I'd punt.
It would be a 59-yard effort at a field goal, which we used to say was absurd, but I remember a fellow who kicked 163 one time.
I'm pretty sure they'll punt. I don't know, but I can't read. But I think they'd punt. Hope they can play good defense. Now they're going to go for the field goal. I guess he's got that.
Well, Dave Lawson of the Air Force Academy holds the NCAA record at 60, I believe. Well, anyway, Lawson's kicked one from 60. This is actually on the 48. It's a 58-yard effort, and it is short by about 10 yards. The record is Ray Guy of Southern Mississippi, 61 yards. And that try by Mike Lantry came up short. So it worked out all right. Michigan gives up the ball. Ohio State gets it at the 20. And if they had punted, it might have been the same sort of a thing.
Yeah, that's not a bad play for Michigan by any standards. I think by punting that they might have been able to get that ball down inside the 10 and put a little bit more pressure on Ohio State. But they know the range of their kicker, how good he is, and I think that he gave it a good shot.
Well, last year, Lantry just barely missed one from 58, so he missed that one by about 10 yards. All right, we have 6 minutes and 20 seconds to play as Ohio State gets the ball back, and Cornelius Green gives it to Archie Griffin from the 20. He runs it out to about the 22, slides off, and he's finally brought down about the 20-yard line. So they'll probably mark it at about the 20. Here's Jim.
The small gaggle of Michigan supporters here in Ohio Stadium get more and more worried as the clock ticks on. And there's an incredible irony building here. On this Michigan team are 20 seniors who, even if they lose today, will have racked up over the last 3 years the best record in college football. But they've never been to a bowl game. That's the pressure that builds right here. Keith?
They give Griffin's advance up to the 22-yard line, gives him 101 yards for the ball game, so he's been able to continue his remarkable string. The pass is complete to Hazel. And Dave Hazel, a senior out of Xenia, number 82, goes for an Ohio State first down up at the 39-yard line, a gain of 18 yards on the play.
Now we're going to ISO Dufek here. Watch Dufek go right in on Green, and Green really keeps his cool. He's out of the fake and just throws that thing right through his hands. A great play. I tell you, that's a clutch call, but it was one that Ohio State had to make. I think they had to have a first down, and I think it was a great call and a great play. It was a fine football.
5 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the ball game. Ohio State leading 12-10. Give it to Griffin from the 39-yard line. He wiggles out to about the 42 for 3 more yards. And that pass that Green just put up and completed to Hazel was his first completion in the second half. The Michigan defense must hold if Michigan is to have a chance. If the Buckeyes get it down, and well, they go for 3. It would give them a 5-point lead. 25 times this year, Ohio State has driven 70 or more yards to score. Here's the handoff again to Griffin. He wiggles through the middle. and gets across the 45 to the 46, and it's Tim Davis on the stop for Michigan. So now Ohio State will be looking at a third down from their own 46-yard line and 3 to go. Got to go to the 49 to get the first down. Third down and 3. This might be a time when Michigan's defense should gamble.
They'll gamble. They'll be up there. Those linebackers will be tight, and they'll be coming.
The offensive left tackle for Ohio State, or left guard, Ted Smith, moves before the snap. Procedure call against Ohio State. That'll back them up 5. You see the time. 4 minutes and 3 seconds to play.
Now, this is the time if Ohio State's got anything that they haven't shown that they've saved, any kind of reverse or something, where they could maybe get that first down or without having to throw the football. I don't know whether they've got something special saved. Sometimes you save a play for just a situation like this.
Third down and 8 from the 41. And give it to Bashnagel, cutting back on the counter, and the wingback gets maybe 2 yards, and that's all. And so Michigan holds them. It'll be 4th down, and Ohio State will have to kick it. It was Jeff Perlinger, number 97, who refused to move on that play. He did not take the fake. He just waited. Got his man.
We were on the same page. They went with the counter. I thought maybe if they had a wide reverse, it might have been a little, helped them out a little bit there.
All right, young Doug Porter, freshman out of Youngstown, comes in to snap the ball. Rob Lytle, one of the deep men, as Skladany does not get the big kick this time. It's going to be returned by Tom Drake for Michigan. And Drake brings it back to the 30, just outside the 30. That time, Skladany got 32 yards on his punt. Drake returned it 4. Michigan has the ball with 3 minutes and 5 seconds to play in the game, trailing by 2.
We checked with our broker, and our broker...
Time would be the ally of Ohio State. Perhaps not yet. Michigan has the ball. Call it the 30-yard line. First down. Lytle is the tailback. I wonder if Bell was hurt. Will throw it. Pass going deep for Chapman. Too long. Incomplete. He went for the bomb and was not close. And Cusick was all over him.
I don't think they want to just come out and start throwing that football right away. I mean, all the time. I think he's got a lot of time, 2 minutes and 58 seconds, got all that timeouts left. They got plenty of time to put together a good drive, get them in field goal position. In fact, I think right now maybe they'd go with the draw or some play that would get them maybe 5 or 6 to put a little pressure on that Ohio State defense, give them a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3.
Right, Bell is not injured. Weary, but not injured. Lytle in fresh. Big, strong runner at tailback. Franklin will throw again. Gets it up. Throws for Smith and missed him. Jim Smith, the intended receiver. And again, Cusick is after the quarterback. And have a look at Cusick, number 71.
He really is playing football. He's a great football player.
He is making Franklin aware of his presence.
That's right. As Chuck said, and the offensive lineman in front of him, he's got his attention, too.
Raising a lot of lumps along that line, isn't he? It is 3rd down and 10 for Michigan at their 30-yard line, trailing by 2 points in 2 minutes and 50 seconds to play. Franklin is down. Arnie Jones and Pete Cusick and Nick Bonamici all are in there. It was Cusick that cut him down. Bonamici buried him and Jones was right there. The ball is back to the 20-yard line. It'll be 4th down, and Michigan will have to punt with only 2 minutes and 31 seconds to play in the game. And I don't know about you, Coach Joe Paterno, but Pete Cusick gets my vote as the defensive player of the ball game.
Well, he has played a great game, but the other tackle on that one had a great play, too. He played awfully well. I tell you, we came into this ball game, everybody talking about the Michigan defense, and Ohio State's defense was suspect, but they have played a great game except for that one pass.
Anderson's punt, nobody. Back to return it for Ohio State. The Buckeyes will let it roll. And it rolls dead at the Ohio State 25-yard line. 55 yards on the punt with only 1 minute and 59 seconds to play in the ball game. Ohio State has the football, and they have the lead by a score of 12 to 10. If Ohio State hangs on to win the ball game, the athletic directors of the Big Ten Conference will all fly to Chicago. They will meet there tomorrow, and there they will cast their ballots for the team to represent the Big Ten in the Rose Bowl against the Pacific 8 champion. And coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern Time over most of these ABC stations, USC and UCLA will start their annual struggle to determine the Western host team. Tom Claiborne with 4 field goals. You saw him there just a moment ago. They give the ball to Pete Johnson. The Michigan defense swarms on him at the 26-yard line. A gain of 1 yard. And now Michigan will have to start spending some of its timeouts. You have 3 per half. That's the first one. Michigan now with 2 remaining timeouts. 1 minute and 51 seconds to play in the football game. Ohio State 12, Michigan 10, and we'll be right back. Dennis Franklin, frustrated on the sidelines. The Michigan quarterback, watching, hoping that lightning will strike in the favor of the Wolverines. Only a minute and 51 seconds to play in the football game. Second down, 9 yards to go. Ohio State owns the ball at their own 26-yard line. It's given to Bashnagel. The wingback reversing gets it out to the 30. Jeff Perlinger, 97, on the tackle. It will be third down for Ohio State and 5. USC and UCLA at 4 o'clock over most of these ABC stations. The Trojans and the Bruins. You see John McKay. He goes against young Dick Vermeil, the new head coach of the UCLA Bruins. UCLA, a ball club that has been wrecked by injuries throughout the season. USC, slow to get on track, losing their opener against Arkansas. But the Bruins have come back to play steady football. The Trojans have been most impressive. In this game, Anthony Davis needs 9 yards to break O.J. Simpson's total yardage record at the University of Southern California. It will be a great one, and you'll see it at 4 o'clock Eastern Time over most of these ABC stations. Here at Ohio Stadium in Columbus, Bo Schembechler stands and watches. There isn't a thing else that he can do except think. Ohio State owns the ball, third down and 5.
Actually, if they can stop him now, make him kick and get any kind of a return, they're still in pretty good position.
A minute and 43 seconds to play in the game. Ohio State leading 12-10. Green rolling, caught, dropped for a loss. Back at the 22-yard line. Tim Davis, number 56, who's been an outstanding football player. Number 77 for Michigan, Greg Morton, right there with him. And now Ohio State backed up to its 22-yard line. On fourth down, will have to punt it. Tom Claiborne, number 6 from Cincinnati, Ohio. 4 field goals, 4 in a row to give Ohio State the lead, 12-10. Skladany, the punter, in now. Dave Brown is deep. Big rush. No roughing. Fair catch. Michigan has the ball. First down at the Wolverines' 47-yard line. Into the wind. Skladany got only 30 yards on the kick and 57 seconds to play in the game. Calvin O'Neill comes boring in, and he decks the kicker, but an official was standing right there. Now, depends on where that kicker's foot was. Here's the punt.
Almost.
Here comes O'Neill. Foot was down.
I don't think he roughed the kicker.
No,
I think he missed him.
All right, Michigan's last chance. Their 47-yard line. 57 seconds to play. 2 timeouts remaining. Franklin puts it up. Throws for Smith. He's got it. at the 31-yard line of Ohio State. First down. Clock stops as they move the chains. 52 seconds to play.
They took the slot back and brought him inside and then brought Smith in right almost just as a trail kind of pattern, a turn in, and he picked the right guy. He had a choice of either hitting Chapman or hitting Smith, and he picked the right guy.
Ohio State leads by only 2. Franklin goes to the sideline, stops the clock. Sent Smith in that direction. And now you see 46 seconds to play on second down and 10 from the 32-yard line. The ball is closer to the 32 for Michigan.
I think Michigan's got one timeout left. Is that right?
One timeout remaining.
They're in pretty good position here. Now they can throw and maybe run one in there and call timeout after the run if they want. They'll still be in pretty good position to kick for that field goal.
Second down and 10. Franklin gives it to Lytle. He breaks it over the middle. He's down to the 22-yard line before Fox brings him down. Close to a first down. And that will stop the clock again with 39 seconds. Mike Lantry, number 36, the place kicker for the University of Michigan Wolverines. He kicked a 37-yarder in the first quarter to make it a 10-0 Michigan lead. The two teams get a deep breath here. It is a first down for Michigan at the Ohio State 22-yard line. 39 ticks remaining on the clock. What a ball game.
That clock starts as soon as the official walks away from that ball, even after a first down, and Michigan better get up on that line of scrimmage.
Mike Lantry, who had a chance to win it last year, may get his chance again this year for Michigan. They give the ball to Lytle, the tailback. He blows it over the right side. He goes to the 16-yard line, and now 18 seconds.
And now they go to that timeout.
And they call time. Let's go to Jim.
I'm not on camera. Once again, the pressure is apparently coming down on the shoulders of Mike Lantry, the Michigan field goal kicker. Remember that twice in the last 5 minutes a year ago, Lantry missed field goals that would have won the ball game for Michigan and sent them to the Rose Bowl. Remember that he hasn't had a great year this year. Before last week, he was 4 for 13 on the year, and the Michigan coaches were worried about his kicking. Remember that he's missed his last 2 attempts today. Both of them were long ones. Now back up to Keith Jackson.
It will be a 33-yard try as Mike Lantry has come on. He will kick out of the hold of Tom Drake. He's a remarkable story. He is from Oxford, Michigan. He was a walk-on. He just showed up one day and said, "Coach, I want to play football for you." He, right now, might very well write his name indelibly in Michigan football history, one of the richest collegiate history books of them all. He is a left-footed kicker. He is a senior. He has a 37-yarder. This one is from 33 yards. The wind is at his back. Only 18 seconds to play in the ball game. The placement is good. The kick, it is up. It is no good. The people have broken out of the stands and come storming onto the field with 16 seconds to play in the football game as Lantry missed from 33 yards out. Let's have another look at it as the goalposts are being ripped down. The officials and the police are trying, security people are trying to clear the field so we can finish the football game. Mike Lantry walks disconsolately to the sideline. But Joe Paterno, it looked like everything went just fine.
I thought he had it from this angle, but Keith, I just want to make one comment on what a great college football game this is, and regardless of winning or losing, it's been enough glory on this football field today for 2 squads. It's been a great football game and a lot.
All right, let's have another look. And we're going to be, as we look at it, a little bit of an angle now. Here's the snap. It is good. Drake's hold is just fine. Lantry's kick is in the air. And it is up in the air with the wind carrying it. Well, it's impossible to tell from this angle. He missed it to the left side, so apparently the ball had not crossed when it veered just to the outside of the uprights, and it's got to go in between the uprights, not over them, but in between them. It was waved off by the officials as no good. Now the field has been cleared, and we have 16 seconds to play in the game. And it will be 16 long, hard seconds for Michigan. We'll have the Prudential College score show for you right after our ball game, and then at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, USC and UCLA over most of these ABC stations as Cornelius Green takes the snap, falls down, 2 ticks on the clock, and then a penalty flag is dropped by the official. But everything is academic, I would think, from here on, as Ohio State leads 12-10. Mike Lantry with a chance to win it for Michigan, missing from 33 yards. Now remember, the athletic directors of the Big Ten Conference are to come into Chicago tomorrow and vote. And one more look at it. There is absolutely no way to tell from here as to where the ball was over the crossbar. It looked good insofar as the uprights were concerned, but at this point, you cannot judge where the ball was, and I'm perfectly content myself to agree with the men in the striped shirts on the field as the clock starts and the game is over. The 71st football game between Ohio State and Michigan, one of the most exciting of them all, one of the most dramatic of them all, and for Michigan, perhaps one of the most heartbreaking of them all. The final score for Woody Hayes and his Ohio State Buckeyes. They have 12 points on 4 field goals from Tom Claiborne, who is our offensive player of the game. Pete Cusick, defensive tackle, our defensive player of the game. The General Scholarship Fund at Ohio State University will receive a total of $2,000 in the name of those 2 gentlemen from Chevrolet. Final score, 12-10, Ohio State wins it. For the record, Ohio State 12, Michigan 10. Coming up next, Prudential College Scoreboard Show. Travel arrangements made through, promotional fee paid by United Airlines. There's a new spirit, a new look at the friendly skies. Catch the spirit of friendship service. The preceding a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
Jack Palance stars in The Godchild on the Tuesday Movie of the Week.
With 10 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third quarter at Columbus, Ohio, Tom Claiborne came in to try this field goal for the Buckeyes, a 45-yard attempt, and Ohio State was trailing 10-9. Who could have known that with 25 minutes to go in that game, that those would have been the points that won it for Ohio State? But that's what happened, because with only 16 seconds to go, Mike Lantry of Michigan missed by inches, just as he did a year ago, and the Buckeyes won it 12-10. We'll talk about the Ohio State-Michigan game as well as other games on the Prudential College Scoreboard, brought to you by the Prudential Insurance Company of America, a company people come back to. When you think about your financial security, see a Prudential agent. Get a piece of the rock, Prudential Insurance. Hello again, everybody. Bill Fleming along with Dave Dials, and of course the Big Ten Championship now is a co-championship between Ohio State and Michigan in certainly what has to be one of the most thrilling games in this long and traditional history of football between these 2 old rivals. And don't forget, coming up at 4 o'clock, a couple of other old rivals from crosstown, only 13 miles apart. USC and UCLA will battle it out in the Coliseum in Los Angeles. All right, let's go to Dave Dials now for the scores this afternoon. Dave?
Bill, we had 4 unbeaten, untied teams starting today. We now have 3. We could have 2 or even 1 by the time the day is over. We have 6 conference titles up for grabs this afternoon and some bowl bids to be decided. Let's check the Ivy League where old rivals Yale and Harvard are battling it out for the championship, and Harvard, an underdog, is leading Yale 14-13 in the fourth period in their 91st meeting. Dartmouth and Penn playing this afternoon, and Pennsylvania has come from behind and is leading 21-17 in the fourth period. Cornell, which has defeated Princeton 4 straight, that streak will stop. Princeton leading 41-12 in the fourth period. Brown trying to make it the second straight winning season, first time since the 50s. Brown leading Columbia 28-19 in the fourth period. Columbia will have lost 13 straight in the Ivy League. Boston College and Massachusetts, a one-sided contest today. BC leading 63-8 fourth period. Connecticut and Holy Cross winding up their seasons. Holy Cross leading 16-6. Colgate and Rutgers, it's a final now. Rutgers has defeated Colgate 62-21. Lehigh and Lafayette have been playing football since 1884. They've had 110 meetings. Sometimes they met twice in 1 year. Lehigh winning today 43-7 in the fourth period. Villanova and Temple this afternoon. Don Bitterlich of Temple has kicked 42 out of 42 extra points, and he's on the ball again today. Temple leading Villanova 17-7 in the fourth period, so Bitterlich not only has 2 extra points, he has a field goal. Delaware getting ready for the Division II postseason competition, tuning up against Bucknell 51-10 in the third period. In the Atlantic Coast Conference, Maryland headed for the Liberty Bowl that you'll see here. Maryland leading Virginia by a score of 10-0 in the fourth period. Maryland already the ACC champion. North Carolina leading Duke 14-13 in the fourth period. You know, Wake Forest is the only major team in the country without a victory. The Deacons have lost 12 straight, are without a victory in the last 20. They're winning right now over Furman 13-10 in the fourth period. Clemson has outlasted South Carolina 39-21 in what Paul Dietzel said was his last game as coach at South Carolina. Slippery Rock winning over Westchester 20-7. Slippery Rock also will play Ithaca in Division III postseason play. Grambling leading Southern University 14-0 in the first period. Southeastern Conference action coming up. Bill and I will be back with more scores and details on this exciting Saturday after this. Well, you'll see the Liberty Bowl right here on ABC on the 16th of December, and you'll see the winner of this team in it, or the winner of this game. Kentucky is playing Tennessee this afternoon. Well, I got the wrong score. Notre Dame is, here we go. Tennessee leading Kentucky 24-7 in the fourth period, so it would appear that Tennessee will be in Bud Dudley's Liberty Bowl against Maryland. Mississippi State and Mississippi at the half, there is no score in that. In games last night, Miami of Florida beat Syracuse 14-7. The Air Force playing Notre Dame this afternoon. Notre Dame playing without fullback Wayne Bullock, who is injured, but having an easy time. The fourth-ranked Irish leading 38-0 in the fourth period. Well, in the Big Ten, Michigan and Ohio State, you've seen these two Titan teams all afternoon here on ABC. Now, Michigan's long streak without a loss has come to an end. Number 3 ranked Ohio State has defeated Michigan 12-10, and we assume that Ohio State will go to the Rose Bowl. Iowa playing Michigan State this afternoon. Michigan State way out in front. It's now a final, 60-21. Michigan State, a fine season for Denny Stoltz. Northwestern and Illinois in their 68th meeting. The Illini in front, 21-0 in the third period. Bill Merrick of Wisconsin has gone over 1,000 yards for the second year in a row, and he missed 2 games this season because of injuries. Wisconsin leading Minnesota 35-14 in the third period. The Old Oaken Bucket is the thing being contested this afternoon down at Ross-Ade Stadium. They're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Old Oaken Bucket and of the stadium, and Purdue is beating Indiana 31-17 in the fourth period. In the Big 8, a couple of great teams, Oklahoma and Nebraska, 7-7 at the half. 83rd meeting between Kansas and Missouri. And Missouri is leading at the half by a score of 13-3, and Colorado and Kansas State. Kansas State has lost 7 in a row, but Vince Gibson says he may be back. This may help persuade him to come back. Kansas State leading Colorado 14-3 at the half. Other scores, other highlights coming right up after this. At the end of this phone line in Columbus, Ohio, is the commissioner of the Big Ten, Wayne Duke. He's in the press box there. Wayne, tell us when we might expect to have the directors' vote announced tomorrow.
Well, Bill, the directors are to convene in Chicago. This determination being made on a conference telephone call on Monday that in the event of a tie in the conference standing, Ohio State win over Michigan, the directors would meet in the Chicago area Sunday morning. That meeting is scheduled at 10 a.m., depending upon how long consideration is given to the matter. An announcement will be made as promptly as possible following the conclusion of that meeting.
Okay, we have a co-championship of the Big Ten, but the rule still stands that the most representative team would go to the Rose Bowl.
That is correct. The most representative team as determined by a vote of the directors of athletics of the 10 conference institutions.
Nothing is ever easy, is it, Wayne? Well, it was a super football game, and we'll be awaiting the word. So thanks for joining us. Now let's go back to Dave Dials for a final word. Well, the Southwest Conference Championship is still up for grabs. Baylor can tie Texas A&M for the lead. If Baylor can beat SMU today, Baylor's doing that 14-7 in the second period. Texas Tech headed for the Peach Bowl, playing Arkansas, no score, second period. In the meeting of the tail enders in the Southwest Conference, Rice is leading TCU by a score of 9-7 in the second period. And you know, nothing has been decided in the Pac-8 yet either. Any one of three teams could go to the Rose Bowl there. The big game, of course, is UCLA and Southern Cal. One of those games, records don't mean anything. It's tradition. And that game is coming up right now on ABC. This is Dave Dial speaking for Bill Fleming. We appreciate you being with us. And stay tuned now for Southern Cal and UCLA. The Prudential College Scoreboard has been brought to you by the Prudential Insurance Company of America, a company that people come back to. When you think about your financial security, see a Prudential agent. Get a piece of the rock. Prudential Insurance. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
See the joyous celebration of life and faith that became a smash hit musical, Godspell, Wednesday night at 8, 7 Central. Right after, join Anne Bancroft, Alan Alda, Jack Benny, Mel Brooks, Carl Reiner, and more in a wild comedy romp, Annie and the Hoods, here on ABC.